Friends and colleagues, welcome to this 72nd webinar that INHAF and the partners are running for a long time now. But before I start anything, before I say anything, I must say sorry to you because, I'm going to kind of play three roles today. Usually, my colleagues introduce this webinar series, which we are running for last 18 months. Unfortunately, they have dropped out last minute. They're not available today, so I'll be doing some kind of introduction to the series. I'm hardly ever on the panel, but for the last 2 or 3 webinars, I've been also on the webinar on the panel, which means you will also listen to me as a panelist. And thirdly, my third job is to really thank you. For that also, some other colleague does it. This time that colleague is not available, so I'll be also playing the third role. So you're going to kind of have excess of me today, but I'll be very careful and see that I don't overstep my limits. So, but thank you very much for joining. Thank you very much for this distinguished panel to be here to sharing this interesting subject. Before we start on this meeting, let me kind of briefly take a few minutes to introduce this webinar series, which I've been running for a long time. This, as you must have seen on the title and on the banner, this is a 72nd webinar that we are running. We started last June, that is in 2021. And we have been running this entire webinar series on essentially one theme, which is the rethinking city, and especially rethinking the Indian city. The reason we're doing this is this, that we believe, like everyone else, that urban challenge in India is very formidable. And we go on saying, I especially go on saying that it is as critical, as important as climate change. And both of them are upon us. Urban challenge is not visible, it's a silent thing that's happening. And but if we really kind of open our eyes, we will begin to see the nature of the urban challenge. And that is in pollution, there's an environmental degradation in our cities, it's the rivers that have become a liability, that's in slums, that is in housing stress, that's in land prices, and that's in inadequate governance, it's in poverty, it's in homelessness, and it's unemployment, underemployment. Take anything. We have a large number of those challenges which we have in the context of urban development in this country. But this challenge is essentially one part of the urban challenge. It's a one kind of challenge. And those are the kind of things that demand correctness, correcting. Those are the things that requires rethinking our ways of doing things. But it's one form of challenge. There's also other side of the challenge, urban challenge. And that is the challenge both of population growth and impact on economic growth. As we all know, India's urban population is jumping very fast. We are estimated to be somewhere near 870 million people in cities in 2050, so 30 more years. Imagine we were just 50 million people when we become independent in cities. From 50 years to 850 million to 870 million people in 100 years. It's a huge jump. We also must remember that we were just about 370 million people in our cities in 2010, which really means that these people who are coming must be accommodated. They must be given a healthy city to live in. They must be given clean water, clean air, productive work, paying jobs. All that has to be done. And other thing, all that must be done in a fast manner, because the changes which are happening are very, very fast. So this is one part of the game. Second part is this, that cities are not only about pollutions and polluted rivers. Cities are also about economic growth because they are engines of economic growth. We know very well that in cities, which has about 32% of the population, contribute 65 to 70% of GDP in this country. And therefore, it is very important if you want to really achieve our dream goal of $5 trillion economy and $10 billion economy, we need efficient city, we need productive cities, we need working cities, we need functioning cities, we need healthy cities. And this requires both solving current problems and ensuring promising future. And that requires thinking new ideas, new approaches, new perspectives, and new ways of doing things. And that is largely because old ways of doing things do not seem to be working very well. Government is doing all it can, and it has given policies, programs, projects, investments. But many more hands, many more minds, many more talents, and many more abilities are required to work on this entire urban theme. And we believe that making our cities better is a societal responsibility, is a societal challenge, and we require wider societal participation in finding new solutions and approaches. This webinar series we are running for last year and a half essentially is a small step in that direction in terms of taking the urban challenge to people and the communities and trying to engage them in the whole process. There is a lot more to be done, but this is a small beginning. So that is the whole context of this webinar series, trying to engage, trying to reach out to people, trying to bring new ideas, trying to kind of bring new people to this whole process of thinking through new approaches and new mechanisms. So with that introductory statement, I hand over to my colleague, Nidhi ji, to conduct this particular webinar for the next hour and a half or two. So thank you, Nidhi ji. Please start.
Thank you, Kirtee ji. And thank you to my panelists and the attendees who are here. So continuing to the theme which Kirtee ji mentioned about the process of city making, I think one integral part of that process are the construction workers. And if you see, the construction industry by itself is one of the biggest growing industry right now in the country, right? So after agriculture, it is the biggest industry which employs people, and it is shaping our cities. So today we're really talking about one particular aspect of construction workers, which are the women. And I would like to share my screen and run through some interesting stats which position this webinar that we are talking about today. So Sehreeti and INHAF, we are two organizations which came together to work on this issue of construction workers. And we're really looking at how can you mainstream women construction workers in higher productive jobs. So usually what do we find is them doing more drudgery work. How do we see that women are seen in higher skilled jobs? So that's really the theme. And we've had one dialogue prior to this one. And that was very interesting because it gave us an understanding or an approach to see this in a more holistic way. So we had people who gave us this sense that, an ecosystem view of looking at this challenge is very necessary. So it's not really an issue which would only be solved by the industry, or an issue which can only be solved by the policymakers, or an issue which can only be solved by construction workers. But something like this has to be done together. So हमारा आज का वेबिनार उसी चीज के ऊपर है कि कंस्ट्रक्शन वर्कर्स, जो औरत कंस्ट्रक्शन वर्कर्स होती है, उनको हायर प्रोडक्टिव जॉब्स में कैसे देखा जाए और कैसे उसको इनकरेज किया जाए. तो कई मैंने ये चीजें काफी बोला कि कंस्ट्रक्शन सेक्टर एक ऐसा सेक्टर है जिसमें काफी लोग एम्प्लॉयड हैं, पर अगर यादा से हम देखें उसमें मोस्टली लोग अनस्किल्ड हैं, मतलब उनको कोई फॉर्मल ट्रेनिंग नहीं दी गई है. एंड दिस इज बोथ मेन एंड फीमेल, वो दोनों आदमी और औरत याददाश्त तक अनस्किल्ड ही रहते हैं कंस्ट्रक्शन वर्कर में, एंड काम करते करते सीख लेते हैं. आदमियों को ज़्यादा अपॉर्चुनिटी मिलती है काम करते हुए सीखने की, एंड औरतों को वो अपॉर्चुनिटी काम करते वक्त ऑन द जॉब ट्रेनिंग की बहुत कम मिलती है। बट देखा जाए तो कंस्ट्रक्शन सेक्टर में एटलीस्ट 35% औरतें ही हैं। पर जैसे आप ये यू सीइंग इन दिस फोटोग्राफ, द जिस तरीके का काम करते हैं तब वो होता है कि सामान उठाना और यू मिक्सिंग, रोड़ी मिक्स करना, या और यू बिकम अ मेसन हेल्पर, तो उस तरीके का काम ज्यादा मिलता है। So we've been really inquiring from people that ऐसा क्यों है? Why do women only get low skilled and low productive jobs in the construction sector? And we went and interviewed some people, and we got some interesting opinions. So this guy, he's actually a mason at a center, at a training site, sorry. And we asked him, so have you seen any female mason? एंड उसका जवाब क्या होता है कि फीमेल मेसन कोई नहीं होती, फीमेल सिर्फ हेल्पर होती है। तो औरत सिर्फ हेल्पर या बेलदारी है। मैंने तो अपने उसमें कभी एक मेसन फीमेल नहीं देखी, मतलब एक औरत एक मेसन नहीं देखी। तो खुद भी उसको शायद ट्रेनिंग नहीं मिली, पर उसने काम करते करते सीख लिया है काफी काम। एंड ऐसा क्यों होता है? तो बोला जाता है कि औरतें स्ट्रांग नहीं है, दे आर नॉट स्ट्रांग इनफ टू कैरी द वेट। नाउ अगर हम ये स्टैट्स ही देखें, वो कम से कम दे कैरिंग 30 kgs ऑफ वेट इन वन ट्रिप। सो हाउ इज इट दैट दे इज नॉट स्ट्रांग? कि कैसे है कि वो स्ट्रांग नहीं है कि हम कह रहे हैं कि वो कंस्ट्रक्शन काम नहीं कर सकती। सो ये तो एक मिसकंसेप्शन है जो फ्लोट किया जाता है। एंड काम करने में भी बोला जाता है कि वो काम कम करती हैं, या उनके पास इतने सारे रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है कि उनको काम करने का मौका नहीं मिलता। बट अगेन इफ यू लुक एट द स्टैट्स, दे आर रियली वर्किंग मोर देन एन 8-hour shift. And there are a lot of studies which actually say they work about 17 hours doing paid and unpaid work on a construction site. So there's this no way kind of qualifies or proves that women are incapable of working on a construction site and various other roles. But what do we really see is them being a helper mason or a helper electrician. Now, Jancy would take us through this, what are the levels of what we call as National Skill Qualification Framework, which take you from one qualification or a one job role, which starts at a semi-skilled, unskilled level and takes you to a higher skilled level. Women's journey, औरतों की journey इस semi-skilled से higher skilled में बहुत कम रहती है construction sector में, बाकी sectors में भी, पर construction sector में ज़्यादा। तो आज हम उसकी बात करना चाहते हैं कि उस जर्नी को हम कैसे इंक्रीज कर सकते हैं। और आप सब ने कुछ ना कुछ इस चीज में काम किया गया है। जैसे मैंने बोला, हम एक इकोसिस्टम अप्रोच देख रहे हैं। कई सिविल सोसाइटी, कई पॉलिसी मेकर्स, कंस्ट्रक्शन वर्कर्स खुद, एसोसिएशन, सब क्या बोल रहे हैं, क्या कर सकते हैं, एंड क्या चैलेंजेस है, व्हाट आर द चैलेंजेस दैट ऑल ऑफ अस आर फेसिंग, एंड हाउ डू वी एड्रेस दैट। एंड वी वांट टू लुक एट इट एज एन एक्शन एजेंडा. So there would be certain kind of an output and an action that we as an organization, INHAF and Sehreeti, would like to push together along with all of you. So really building a community on that. And I'm just going to quickly introduce our speakers, and I will also introduce while we start the presentation. So we have a great panel today, and I love the fact that it is largely a female-led panel when we're talking about this, really the issue. We have Ms. Jancy Mathew, who's the Chief Operating Officer at the Construction Sector Skill Development Council. Now, Sector Skill Councils are part of the skilling ecosystem in our country, and they're responsible for making what we know as job roles and standards, which are industry vetted and what industry want, and then also facilitating training and certification. हमारे साथ सविता सोनावने हैं, जो प्रेसिडेंट है पुणे महिला मिलन की, एंड हम उनसे सीखेंगे कि उनकी क्या जर्नी हुई। फ्रॉम बस्ती से वो एक प्रेसिडेंट महिला मिलन की, उन्होंने एक कॉन्ट्रैक्टर का भी काम किया, औरों को भी ट्रेन किया, तो उनसे उनकी जर्नी, उनको क्या क्या चैलेंजेस मिले रास्ते में, वो समझना चाहेंगे। हमारे साथ लारा शंकर चंद्रा है, who is Director Strategy, Advocacy and Partnership for Habitat for Humanity India. And they're doing a very innovative project right now called Nirmanshramik, where they're training women construction workers and also nurturing social enterprises amongst themselves. And we would love to hear more about that from Lara. हमारे साथ कमलेश हैं, जिन्होंने खुद एक ट्रेनिंग ली थी एज अ कंस्ट्रक्शन वर्कर, जो दिल्ली श्रमिक संगठन की भी बात है, एंड उनसे भी हम पूछेंगे कि उनकी क्या जर्नी रही, उनको ट्रेनिंग से क्या फायदा हुआ, उनको अब काम करने में क्या चैलेंजेस हुए, उन्होंने अपना को स्केल अप कैसे किया। And then we have Ms. Thresiamma Mathew, who's the director at Archana Women Center. And they have trained a lot of women construction workers in multiple ways, and have also nurtured, again, a lot of entrepreneurs. And from her, we'll understand how they have taken such an initiative. So I'll stop here. And I would like to begin with Jancy, if that's okay, and take this conversation further.
Good evening. Good evening. I'm Jancy. I represent Construction Skill Development Council. I have a small presentation. I request Nidhi to just share the presentation. I'll briefly give an introduction about me and the Construction Skill Development Council. Actually, this council is constituted in 2013, September. What we do is we identify the qualifications, job roles available in the construction sector, develop competency standards, and get it approved through the National Skill Development Agency. Now, right now, it is called the NCBET, National Council for Vocational Education and Training. So, our job is to identify and develop qualifications and national occupational standards related to construction sector job roles. So that is the basic idea of constituting this council, and we do award the certifications also for the nationally approved qualifications. So can you please share this? Yeah. Next one, please. Can you go to the second slide, please? So we cater for 3 subsectors: real estate and infrastructure construction, then rural infrastructure construction, and heritage building works. So Construction Skill Development Council, under the aegis of National Skill Development Corporation is constituted. We are, our partners are Kirtee, which is Real Estate Developers Association, BEI, Builders Association of India, NHBF, National Highway Building Federation of India, CFI, Construction Federation of India. So all the contractors and builders and developers are part of these 4 organizations. So we have a huge support in terms of people who is constructing, people who is developing, infrastructure, buildings, roads, railways, whatever is there in the construction. So therefore, we get a lot of support. What is exactly is the competency required for each worker? This is how we get the information from the sector, and then we develop the standards. So this NSQF also, I would like to give a little bit about NSQF. It is a national skill qualification framework. Like we have academic qualifications, we have 10th, 12th, and then graduation, BTech, diploma, a lot of qualifications are there. This is formally developed qualifications and existing in the country. But there is no skill qualification as such, 9 years, the skill ecosystem has came into being, and national occupational standards have been developed by various sectors. Like construction, there are another 37, 38 sectors, which is catering for each sector's skill council is catering to their own skill requirements. So for example, construction is catering only to the job roles, which is relevant to construction workforce. So, and 85 to 90% of construction workforce constitutes, your level 4, NSQF level 4, which is skilled worker. So skilled worker and below, semi-skilled, and you are, minimally skilled. You can say minimally skilled. Helper is also a skilled person, because simply anybody cannot do a work of a helper. They also need a little bit of experience in the construction. So what we have done is we have developed qualifications from level 2. Our lowest level, that is our helper. Helper is level 2, NSQ of level 2. And the highest level which we have developed is NSQ of level 6. So we have identified 17 occupations in construction sector majorly. We developed 102 job roles and allied national occupational standards, all approved by the body NCVT, National Council for Vocational Education and Training. So this is a brief on that because a lot of time is required to introduce the NSQ and purpose behind it. You must understand it is just a competency measuring qualification. So this is just some data I have collected from what is the manpower requirement, and the majorly people who's employed in construction sector, if you look at it, 80 to 85% minimally skilled, semi-skilled workers. So I would say highly skilled or level 6 and above, which constitutes your managers, engineers, and planning engineers, structural engineers, architects, managers. These constitutes maximum 5% of the workers segment in construction, but the major part is constituting this people with motor skills. So there is, we have done some survey and we found this is the job demand majorly for these occupations. Mainly helper in all occupations, masonry or the carpenter or shuttering carpentry or so mason. Helper is a major requirement. Everybody requires a helper. Then shuttering carpenter, barbending and steel fixing occupation. So these are the numbers which we have through the survey we could identify. This is just idea to give you numbers. And as I told you, CSDCI develops standards, and we are an awarding body also. So we assess the candidates and certify the candidates based on this NSQ of levels. So there is a benefit because of this. Right now, what is happening is in any construction site, mason, carpenter, shuttering carpenter, scaffolder, anybody is required, word of mouth, they will say, okay, I'm a mason. Maybe most probably that person may be a mason or a helper or an assistant. There's no way we can find out until and unless the person is put at site and seen the work. Because of these certifications, this is a government approved certificate. At least the employer will know, okay, what category of person this particular worker going to be. If that is an NSQ of level 4 mason, which means a skilled person, NSQ of level 2, which is a helper category. So a lot of clarity has become, a lot of improvement has come in terms of competency measurement and identification. So this is some data. As in CSTCI, we have conducted approximately 8,44,170 assessments in the national, in the approved national standards. So I have made a comparison for one of the job roles. This is called the rural mason. These people are actually employed in the rural areas. There is a program called Prime Minister Awas Yojana, rural, wherein the beneficiary is given 2 lakhs or some money by the government, and those people are themselves, sometimes they themselves are employed in their own housemaking. So after 45 days, mostly generally it takes 45 to 50 days to construct such a house. So the stakeholder involved is taking part in the construction work. So wherein I have given a data of 5-year data, wherein we have around 2 lakh numbers enrolled for rural mason, that is NSQ of level 4. And out of which 22,039 people enrolled were women. So this shows 11.19% of women enrollment for NSQ of level 4 qualification. And we have done a survey of 20 states. 20 states were covered. Can you just, yeah. So out of 20 states, women enrolled in all the 17 states. The maximum enrollment happened in Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, and Rajasthan. So this is the figure which I have taken it out from our own data. This is the real data which we have taken out. So the women participation is very low. I would say 10 to 12%, and that too in NSQ of level 4. Yes, helper is an NSQ of level 2 jobbers. There may be a little more, but in any case, the women participation is quite low. But due to this certification and national occupational standards, some sort of upskilling training is feasible right now. So the women workers should get into these programs and get themselves certified so that they can get better wages. Most of the time, they don't get equal wages, at par wages with the men counterparts. So this certification will definitely, if not today, maybe after some time, definitely will, the certificate will tell you whether this person is competent to be in NSQ of level 4, a skilled person or a helper. And definitely this will give them some edge over getting a better wages than an uncertified person. I think I can only say this much regarding this.
Sure, Jancy.
Yeah,
thank you so much.
Yeah.
So I think, Jancy, what came out from your presentation, and that's really the cue also, that not even 10% of the women who were enrolled in that RPL program, the only 10% were women. And RPL, as I'll just explain it to everybody else, is what we call as recognition of prior learning, where people who are already on job, they get tested, almost tested, to say that they know that skill set, and sector skill councils issues or recognize that they know that skill. So for sectors which are informal, like construction, it is very, very valuable, because you are able to position yourself at a certain level. So are you, a level 4 worker, or are you level 5, and RPL can help you do that. So even then, when we get into sites, and the RPL number for women is still pretty less, right? And fresh training is even much lesser. So what have your experience been in both of it? And some of the fresh skilling mobilization, yes, is the responsibility of training partner. But what are the challenges that women don't come for skilling programs in the construction sector? What have you experienced?
Nidhi, can I add? I think, one question. Can I add a question to Mathew ji?
Please.
Ma'am, I think a very, very, very impressive presentation. Very nice, that you gave the statistics and figures. Very interesting. I just wanted to ask you two questions. See, one of the things that I've noticed over a period of last, I'm an architect and practicing over the last 50 years, both as an architect as well as one who's involved in development work. And I continuously see one question, that you don't find carpenters, you don't find masons, you don't find plumbers, but no one asks that question. Why don't we have them? So the first question that I wanted to ask you was this, that your skilling program, your program of intervention, very interesting. Does it ask this question? Why are that not women? And as Nidhi ji explained earlier, they are capable, they can learn skill very fast, they're productive and all that. There's no question about that. So the first question, whether your program asks that question, that's number one. And secondly, if it asks question, how does it reflect in your design of the program? This is one. Second thing that you mentioned is this, that you talked about 10% having been trained, and those are the out of 222,000 are the women. In my understanding, issue is not necessarily training. It's doable. It's simple. Real problem is to get them in the industry to become productive, that they do work and get employed and get respected and get the kind of, the kind of thing that they deserve. So my second question is this: it's not only the training, it's not only the skilling. Is anything happening in the area through your effort which would allow penetration of women in the construction business? Problem is there's a huge bottleneck. The problem is there's a huge wall which is there, which doesn't allow women to enter. So what I'm trying to say is this: is any thought beyond training going on as a part of your training work? And if it is, what is it? So that's just a small question. Thanks.
Number one point is that why women is not much there in the construction sector workforce. As you are an architect, so you will be aware of the physical challenges which they face in a construction field. Plus, the social mindset of our country, wherein a woman is supposed to be taking care of the family, the children. Also, they will be just tagging along their husbands to do some kind of a work. So whatever possible time they get, most of the time they work as helpers. And the wages also is one of the main concerns. Wages also at par, they don't get, even if they, and there is no recognition for whatever they are doing. So at present, as a skill council, we are trying to find out what is the competency, whether we can measure the competency and issue them a certificate, so that there will be some recognition for their competency. And if there is some recognition for their competency, definitely there will be, they will get better wages, because at present it is not there, but I expect some changes there in that segment. But women has to come forward. They will come forward if they think they will get more money. There are a lot of problems with the contractors, with the way people think, the employees, they think definitely they all want to, get better profits. Their bottom lines are very, very less. So a lot of things which is not in our control, but what is in our control is we identify the qualification, job roles, competencies, and then we develop good standards. We do assess, do a good assessment, and develop, value-based certificates. They can, not only women, they can even go abroad, and because certainly in European countries or any other countries, look at it, if you call a plumber or a mason, they will definitely wear a certificate. They bring a certificate along with them, so which gives value for your money. Right now, if you want to employ a mason or a carpenter or a plumber in our houses, we simply say, okay, he says he's a mason, we just employ them. So this thing will be changing, and therefore when the certificate competencies, if you're a competent person, then definitely this kind of approach will change, and definitely I feel that they will also get much better wages. Definitely everything is people do for some gains. If they get good money, then definitely that will be. So I dream and I wish that our workers, all carry certificates, valued certificates, and then earn good wages. This is what is my dream. And that is the effort we are. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Jancy, for that. Yeah. No, I think it's important.
Nidhi, actually, our office.
Yes, I know you have to leave. Yeah. Yes.
Our office takes process.
So thank you so much for
waiting for me to leave. So that, sorry, I really wanted to hear the construction workers view also.
Yes, no, I'll share the link with you, but thank you so much for joining. This has been really great, and I think we'll connect again. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I hope I could answer some of your questions, Mr. Kirtee. Sorry.
No, madam, we will contact you again. We have lots of questions and we want your input. So we will contact you subsequently. We'll get in touch with you.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Nidhi, for inviting me on this.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you. हमारी अगली पैनलिस्ट है सविता। सविता सोनवे पुणे महिला मिलन की है। वो प्रेसिडेंट है पुणे महिला मिलन से। कुछ 2 डेकेड्स 20 साल से काम कर रही हैं वहाँ पे। And she's worked on various projects such as large-scale community sanitation work, BSUP housing projects. उन्होंने बाकी औरतों को भी ट्रेन किया है and she has worked with architects and civil engineers. काफी औरतें उनके साथ कॉन्ट्रैक्टर्स बनी हैं। इन्होंने एक काम भी करा है पुणे म्युनिसिपल कॉर्पोरेशन के लिए, जिसमें उन्होंने डिजाइन कंस्ट्रक्शन 140 कम्युनिटी टॉयलेट ब्लॉक्स का किया है एंड 1500 इंडिविजुअल हाउसिंग का भी उन्होंने करे हैं स्लम्स पुणे में अंडर PSUP प्रोजेक्ट। Savita is also an ex-board member of Nirman, a non-for-profit company and a sister affiliate of Spark that was set up to take up construction of housing and sanitation for slum dwellers. Savita जी, आपका बहुत धन्यवाद, आप आए। आप अपने आप को अनम्यूट अब कर सकती हैं। बढ़िया, आपको सुनाई दे रहा है?
हाँ, सुनाई दे रहा है। नमस्ते, नाम सविता सोनवाने। मैं पुणे में रहती हूँ और पुणे महिला मिलन संगठन और स्पार्क के साथ 94 से संगठन चलाती हूँ पुणे में, और तब से लेके अब तक कंस्ट्रक्शन का काम करती हूँ। कॉन्ट्रैक्ट लेना और भी सरकार की जो योजना है वो स्लम वासियों तक पहुँचाना, पॉलिसी कमेटी का भी काम करती हूँ। और जो कंस्ट्रक्शन में हम जब कंस्ट्रक्शन करते तब पूरे जो भी लोग आते हैं उनको ट्रेनिंग देते हैं, ग्राउंड लेवल से लेके हाई लेवल तक IAS ऑफिसर तक आके ट्रेनिंग लेके गए पुणे में।
सविता जी, आप अपना थोड़ा, जैसे मैं आपसे फोन पे बात करी थी, अपनी थोड़ी जर्नी बताएं कि आपने ये काम शुरू कैसे किया और किस किस तरीके की महिला फिर आपके साथ, आपका मॉडल क्या है? जैसे आपने बताया SHG बनती है और फिर आप लोग प्रोजेक्ट्स करते हैं, आप खुद, आपकी खुद भी ट्रेनिंग होती है एंड आपने फिर कॉन्ट्रैक्टर बन के भी काम किया। तो वो थोड़ी एक जर्नी मुझे समझाएं, क्योंकि जैसे आपने सुना कि हम यही देखना चाहते हैं कि औरतें कंस्ट्रक्शन का काम कर सकती हैं क्या नहीं, और उनको क्या चैलेंजेस उस रास्ते में मिलते हैं।
मैं जब कंस्ट्रक्शन का काम करने के लिए, मुझे तो कुछ मालूम नहीं था कंस्ट्रक्शन क्या होता है, ये वर्ड ही मुझे मालूम नहीं था कि कंस्ट्रक्शन किसको बोलते हैं। जब हम लोग संगठन बना रहे थे बस्ती में, हमारे बचत योजना के माध्यम से हम लोग महिला मिलन से जुड़े हुए हैं, पार्क के साथ जुड़े हुए हैं, और जो भी सोशल इकोनॉमिक सर्वे करते थे पहले, लोगों का जो भी वोटिंग में नाम डालना, रेशनिंग कार्ड निकालना, या ऐसे छोटे मोटे काम हम लोग पहले करते थे। फिर बाद में सोशल इकोनॉमिक सर्वे के माध्यम से हमको मालूम पड़ा कि पुणे में कितने पुराने टॉयलेट है और वो सेफ्टी टैंक है, और उसमें कारपोरेशन के लोग, साफ सफाई कर्मचारी एक ही बार आते हैं और बहुत गंदगी रहती है। बच्चे लोगों के लिए चिल्ड्रन टॉयलेट नहीं है, औरत लोगों के लिए यूरिनल नहीं है, बाथरूम नहीं है, और बहुत दिक्कत में महिला रहती है। जब मैं भी एक पहाड़ पे झोपड़पट्टी में रहती थी पहले, और तब हम लोग पहाड़ पे ओपन स्पॉट पे जाते थे, तो ऐसा लगता था कभी टॉयलेट बन जाए हमारे यहाँ, कभी टॉयलेट में हम लोग जाए, कभी ऐसा शर्म, जब रात को ही जाना पड़ता था या सुबह जल्दी ही जाना पड़ता था, तो सपना देखते थे हम लोग कि हमारा एक इंडिविजुअल तो नहीं सपना देखते थे, लेकिन कम्युनिटी टॉयलेट तो हो, या औरत लोगों को, जान जवान लड़कियां, उनके लिए तो एक इंडिविजुअल टॉयलेट 10 फीट का होना चाहिए। तो बहुत दिक्कत थी टॉयलेट की, इसलिए हम लोग जब सर्वे करने लगे तो हमने देखा कि हम लोग तो ओपन स्पॉट पे जाते हैं, लेकिन वो तो थोड़ा साफ रहता है, लेकिन यहाँ पे जाते हैं तो बहुत सारी गंदगी है। यहाँ तो पूरा नर्क ही है कि ऐसे जाते टाइम पाँव में ऐसा वो जो रहता ना गंदगी भी, और वो सेफ्टी टैंक से बहुत ऐसे कीड़े आते थे। और एक औरत भी हमारे सामने, हाँ, सेफ्टी टैंक में हमारे सामने एक औरत गिर गई, तो लोगों ने निकाला उसको, लेकिन ये हालत देख के ऐसा लगा कि अभी हमारा ओपन स्पॉट इससे अच्छा है, लेकिन इन लोगों के लिए कुछ तो भी करना है। इसलिए वो सर्वे के माध्यम से हम लोगों ने 15-16 टॉयलेट का सर्वे, ऐसा दिक्कत वाला फोटो निकाला, और तब रत्नाकर गायकवाड़ करके कमिश्नर थे, तो हमने जोकिन सर थे हमारे पहले, तो जोकिन सर से बात की, जोकिन सर से बोले कि बाबा ये इतने दिक्कत में ये लोग रहते, हम लोग हमारे बारे में सोचने लगे लेकिन ये तो बहुत दिक्कत में रहते। तो फिर जोकिन सर ने बोला कि कमिश्नर रत्नाकर गायकवाड़ करके पुणे में है और वो मैं अगले हफ्ते आ जाऊंगा, लेकिन पहली मीटिंग आपको लेना है उनसे। तो हम रत्नाकर गायकवाड़ के पास गए, स्पार्क महिला मिलन के तरफ से आए करके बताया। तो उन्होंने कहा कि आप अच्छे टाइम पे आ गए हमारे यहाँ, हम लोग पुणे में सैनिटेशन प्रोग्राम करने वाले हैं, बहुत सारा सैनिटेशन प्रोग्राम करने वाले। तब जोकिन सर अगले हफ्ते, हमने बोला कि जोकिन सर अगले हफ्ते आने वाले हैं, तो अगर आप टाइम देंगे तो मीटिंग लेंगे सर। तो वो जोकिन सर के फ्रेंड थे, वो पहचानते थे जोकिन सर को। तो फिर अगले हफ्ते मीटिंग हो गई, जोकिन सर बोले मैं आने वाला हूँ और आप सब जन वो लिस्ट लेके जो जो टॉयलेट का दिक्कत है फोटो और लिस्ट लेके आ जाइए। तो हम लोग गए, दिखाए, फिर कमिश्नर ने पेपर डिक्लेयर किया, मीटिंग हो गई हमारी कमिश्नर के साथ, जोकिन सर के साथ। फिर जोकिन सर को कमिश्नर बोले, हमको बोले कि आप पुणे में कितने टॉयलेट बांधेंगे ये बताओ हमको, और सारे टॉयलेट आप बांध सकते हैं क्या? तो जोकिन सर बोले इतना मैन पावर नहीं है कि सारे टॉयलेट पुणे में बांध सकते हैं, तो आप ऐसा करो कि और भी संस्था को इनमें इन्वॉल्व करो। तो फिर और भी संस्था को, 8 संस्था को इन्वॉल्व किया रत्नाकर गायकवाड़ ने, कमिश्नर ने, और पेपर डिक्लेयर किया। फिर 8 संस्था, हम महिला मिलन पकड़ के 8 संस्था हो गई। और फिर उसके बाद हम लोग, हमको वर्क ऑर्डर मिली। वर्क ऑर्डर क्या है मालूम नहीं था, तो पहले हमको वर्क ऑर्डर मिली फर्स्ट फेज में। और फिर हम लोगों ने देखा के हमको बोले कि आप जाओ और जो बस्तियां है वो बस्ती में आप लोग जाके, यही बस्ती नहीं और भी बस्ती के आपको वर्क ऑर्डर मिलेगी। जैसे जैसे हमको वर्क ऑर्डर टॉयलेट की मिलती गई, हम लोग बस्ती में जाके सर्वे करने लगे। टेप पहली बार पकड़ा हमने, टेप पकड़ के कैसा मेजरमेंट लेते ये मालूम नहीं था। शरद महाजन करके हमारे आर्किटेक्ट थे, अभी वो सॉरी एक्सपायर हो गए, वो हमारे आर्किटेक्ट थे। और फिर उन्होंने एक इंजीनियर दिया था, फिर हम लोग पूरी बस्ती उनको दिखाया, और फिर वो इंजीनियर के हाथ में एक टेप और हमारे हाथ में एक बाजू टेप थी। फिर मेजरमेंट क्या होता है वो लिख के, वो देख के हम लोग मेजरमेंट लेना सीख गए। फिर उसके बाद टॉयलेट डेमोलेशन करने के बाद मालूम पड़ा कि इसमें महिला है, इसमें सेलेक्टिव, इसके लिए अलग यंत्रणा लगती है। तो फिर उसके लिए कंटेनर ये वो सैलेज मैन बुला के साफ सफाई करके, फिर जोकिन सर को बोला टॉयलेट तो डेमोलिशन हो गया, अभी कंस्ट्रक्शन का काम कब चालू करना है? तो फिर जोकिन सर ने कॉन्ट्रैक्टर भेजा। फिर वो कॉन्ट्रैक्टर को इतना हमको 110 टॉयलेट का कॉन्ट्रैक्ट मिला था फर्स्ट फेज और सेकंड फेज में। फर्स्ट फेज में 75 टॉयलेट का वर्क ऑर्डर मिला था। तो फिर इतना टाइम लिमिट था 2 महीने का, तो 2 महीने में हम लोग पूरा नहीं कर सकते थे। तो फिर हम लोगों ने देखा कि ये कॉन्ट्रैक्टर कैसे काम करता है। जोकिन सर ने बोला अगर ये कर सकता है तो आप क्यों नहीं कर सकते? तो हम लोग बोले कि हमको कुछ भी मालूम नहीं है इसके बारे में, तो कैसे करें? तो आप देखते जाओ, सीखते जाओ, तो ऑटोमेटिकली कर सकते हैं। डिग्री की जरूरत नहीं है, अनुभव की जरूरत है। तो हम लोगों ने डेयरिंग की। फर्स्ट टाइम मैं और पद्मा गोरे करके एक महिला मिलन थी, हम दोनों ने टॉयलेट का काम लिया, 5 टॉयलेट बांधने का काम लिया। तो तब मालूम पड़ा कि खोदाई करना चाहिए, फिर वो हार्ड रॉक लगना चाहिए, फिर 4 इंची 5 इंची उसके ऊपर पीसीसी करना चाहिए। अगर हार्ड रॉक नहीं लगता है तो उसको डबल सोलिंग करना चाहिए, जहाँ पे काली मट्टी है वहां पे डबल सोलिंग करना चाहिए। फिर फुटिंग, पीसीसी करने के बाद फिर फुटिंग लेना चाहिए। फिर उसके बाद प्लीन बीम भरना चाहिए। प्लीन बीम भरने के बाद प्लीन बीम कितने स्क्वायर के रहते हैं, फिर उसके बाद कॉलम, कॉलम को क्या क्या लगता है, कितने 6 mm का स्टील, 8 mm का स्टील, 12 mm का स्टील, 10 mm का स्टील, किस चीज को लगता है कभी मालूम नहीं था। कभी एक स्टील हाथ में भी नहीं पकड़ा था, तब पूरा मालूम पड़ गया। 18 mm का कॉलम, 6 mm का कॉलम, 9 mm का कॉलम, 12 mm का, ये कॉलम कितना रहना चाहिए। तब मालूम पड़ा अपने को अगर G+1 जाना है, G+2 जाना है, तो कितना कॉलम, उसका फाउंडेशन कैसा मजबूत होना चाहिए। तो ऐसे ही हम लोग फिर प्लिन बीम होने के बाद फिर उसको दुमस करना है, उसमें रॉक डालना है, उसको दुमस करके पानी डालना है, उसके ऊपर वापस 4 इंच पीसीसी करना है प्लीन के ऊपर, फिर कॉलम खड़े रहना है, फिर स्लैब लेना है। स्लैब में क्या क्या करते हैं, क्या इंजीनियर का रोल है, क्या वो फिटर का रोल है, क्या वो सुतार का रोल है, क्या गौंडी बिगारी औरत लोगों का क्या रोल रहता है, वो क्या रेशो रखते हैं, और फिर कैसा मिक्सर करते हैं। ये सब स्टार्टिंग से लेके, तब मिक्सर नहीं रहते थे, हाथ से ही सब छानते रहते थे। तो ये सब उसमें हमको प्रैक्टिकली ट्रेनिंग ली है हम लोगों ने। हमारे पास मैं तो पढ़ी लिखी नहीं हूँ, मेरी दूसरी पढ़ाई हुई है, लेकिन तब प्रैक्टिकली इसमें हमको मालूम पड़ा। तो इसके बाद
आपने करते करते कितने, आपने सिर्फ टॉयलेट्स नहीं घर भी बनाना शुरू कर दिया?
हाँ,
आपने घर भी बनाना शुरू करे ना बीएसयूपी में?
टॉयलेट बनाने के बाद हम लोग 110 टॉयलेट महिला मिलन, पूना महिला मिलन ने आधा बनाया और बाकी प्राइवेट कॉन्ट्रैक्टर ने आधा बनाया। फिर वो आधा बनाने के लिए हम लोगों ने बर्तन मांजने वाले औरत लोगों को लिया, कॉन्ट्रैक्टर बनाया। रिक्शा चलाता था वो औरत आदमी, उसकी औरत को और उसको लिया कंस्ट्रक्शन के फील्ड में। भाजी बेचने वाली औरत थी, उसको ले लिया। जो भी बिगारी काम करने वाली औरत थी, हम लोगों ने उसको कॉन्ट्रैक्टर बनाया। तू क्यों बिगारी का काम करती है, तू इसमें आ। तो ये हम लोग कॉन्ट्रैक्ट लेके ये काम कर सकते हैं, ये फील्ड का हमको तो कुछ भी मालूम नहीं था। तेरे पास तो ये स्किल है, प्रैक्टिकली ज्ञान है, तो तू भी इसमें कॉन्ट्रैक्टर बन सकती है। इसलिए हमने कॉन्ट्रैक्टर उसको भी बनाया। जो मेहतर काम करने वाली औरतें थी, उसको भी हम लोगों ने, केयर टेकर थी मेहतर काम करने वाली, उसको भी इसमें कॉन्ट्रैक्टर बनाया। तो ये करते करते हम लोग पूरे टॉयलेट का काम करने के बाद हमको मालूम पड़ा कि कंस्ट्रक्शन क्या होता है, कैसे बांधकाम होता है, इसमें क्या काम कर सकते। अगर अभी हम तो कॉन्ट्रैक्टर बन गए, अभी तो बिल्डिंग का भी काम कर सकते अगर चांस मिला तो। फिर हमको हड़पसर में ओपन स्पॉट में G+2 का बिल्डिंग का काम मिल गया। संस्था हम लोगों ने पहले सोशल इकोनॉमिक जो बाढ़ आने वाले लोग थे उन लोगों का सर्वे करके रखा था। फिर कमिश्नर से मान्यता लेके वाल्मीकि आवास योजना का काम हम लोगों ने लिया, संस्था ने, स्पार्क संस्था ने और महिला मिलन ने मिलके। तो उसमें एक तरफ हमारा रोल था कि संस्था के साथ संगठन चलाना, और जो हमारा रोल था सोशल इकोनॉमिक सर्वे, बायोमेट्रिक सर्वे, इंडिविजुअल फाइल जमा करना, कारपोरेशन को डॉक्यूमेंट्स देना, बाकी के कॉन्ट्रैक्टर के ऊपर ध्यान देना, लोगों के साथ मीटिंग लेना। ये हमारा बहुत बड़ा एक चैलेंज था, लोगों को कन्विंस करना यहाँ से वहां जाना है, आप लोगों को यहाँ रोड वाइडिंग होना है, या पूरग्रस्त लोग है आप, या फायर ब्रिगेड रिजर्वेशन है, गार्डन रिजर्वेशन है। ऐसा करके हम लोगों ने लोगों को समझाया। वो रोल हमारा अलग था। लेकिन जो खुद का कॉन्ट्रैक्ट था, आधा काम कॉन्ट्रैक्टर को दे दिया, प्राइवेट कॉन्ट्रैक्टर, आधा काम हम लोगों ने जोकिन सर से बोला कि नहीं हम भी अभी कॉन्ट्रैक्टर बन गए तो हम भी बिल्डिंग का काम कर सकते। जोकिन सर ने बोला अरे वाह, आप लोग बिल्डिंग का भी कॉन्ट्रैक्ट कर सकते तो फिर अच्छी बात है। इसलिए हमारी पाठ थक गई, तो मेरी कॉलर काट हो गई कि ये अनपढ़ अंगूठा बहादुर, ये तो PhD बन गई इसमें, ऐसा करके जोकिन सर ने बोला। हम लोगों ने फिर बिल्डिंग का भी काम किया। G+2 का बिल्डिंग के लिए कैसा प्लान होना चाहिए, लोगों की सुविधा कैसी अच्छी होनी चाहिए। कारपोरेशन ने 180 स्क्वायर फीट का घर दिया था, लेकिन शरद महाजन हमारे आर्किटेक्ट थे, उनके साथ बैठ के ये प्लान हम लोगों ने चेंज किया। कारपोरेशन को उसका अलग से प्रपोजल दिया कि अगर बेनिफिशियरी को अपन यहाँ लाते तो उनको 180 स्क्वायर फीट में नहीं रह सकते, तो कम से कम 260 स्क्वायर फीट का एक टॉयलेट, एक किचन, बाथरूम और एक रूम हॉल तक इतना तो होना चाहिए लोगों को रहने के लिए। इसके लिए फिर अलग प्रपोजल रख के हम लोगों ने अलग मान्यता ले ली और लोगों को 260 स्क्वायर फीट का वहां पे घर, वाल्मीकि आवास योजना अंतर्गत लोगों हडको से लोन लिया। उतने मानधन में नहीं बनता था घर, तो स्पार्क ने फिर हेडको से लोन लेके फिर वो प्रोजेक्ट हम लोगों ने 618 लोगों को घर दिया, जो पूर्वग्रस्त लोग थे, रोड वाइडिंग के थे, रेलवे पटरी के थे, लेकिन उसमें आधा महिला मिलन कॉन्ट्रैक्टर थे। तो तब भी हम लोगों ने कोशिश की कि ज्यादा से ज्यादा औरतें कॉन्ट्रैक्टर बने, ज्यादा से ज्यादा औरत लोगों को इसका स्किल समझना जरूरी है। क्योंकि हम लोग देखते थे कि ज्यादा इसमें मेहनत का काम औरत लोग करते। जो गौंडी जब हाथ में घमेला लेता था माल का, तो औरत वो माल उसके पास देती थी, इतना बड़ा उठा के वीट खुद लेके जाती थी। बाकी का जो सेंटरिंग का जो मटेरियल रहता है वो सिर के ऊपर ऊपर लेके जाती थी। ज्यादा करके बिल्डिंग बांधकाम में औरत का, महिलाओं का ज्यादा योगदान रहता है। इसलिए जोकिन सर ने पूरी जितना भी इंटरनेशनल लोग हैं HDI के, उन लोगों को यहाँ पे लाया। और फॉर एग्जाम्पल देखो महिलाएं कैसे काम करते हैं, महिलाएं कैसे कॉन्ट्रैक्टर है, महिलाएं जो भी पढ़ी लिखी नहीं है और जो बिगाड़ी काम करने वाली हो, मेहतर काम करने वाली हो, या तरकारी बेचने वाली हो, या बर्तन मांजने वाली औरत हो, और या घरेलू औरत हो जो गृहिणी है, वो कैसे कॉन्ट्रैक्ट का काम कर सकती है। ये बहुत बड़ा चैलेंज है पूना महिला मिलन ने लिया हुआ। वो कैसे कॉन्ट्रैक्टर बन गई, इसलिए जोकिन सर ने पूरी इंटरनेशनल लोगों को लाके ये पूरा स्किल हमारा तब दिखाया था।
और आपको रास्ते में क्या क्या चैलेंजेस मिले?
प्लीज।
क्या? सॉरी, जैसे आपने कल मेरे को बता रहे थे कि जब कॉर्पोरेशन में जाते थे तब भी थोड़ा चैलेंज मिलता था ना लोगों से बात करने के लिए। क्या लोग बात करते थे आपके एज ए महिला कॉन्ट्रैक्टर से? तो उसमें क्या चैलेंजेस आते थे?
हाँ, 20 साल पहले, 20-25 साल पहले महिलाएं कॉन्ट्रैक्टर नहीं थी। पूरे पुणे में जो भी बिल्डर लोग थे, ठेकेदार लोग थे, वो टेंडर भरते थे। टॉयलेट का हो, घर का हो, या और ड्रेनेज का हो, कुछ भी चीज का हो। तो उसमें पुणे में फर्स्ट टाइम, पुणे में मैं बोलूं महाराष्ट्र में, पूरे महाराष्ट्र में ऐसा कभी सुनने को नहीं आया कि महिलाएं ने कॉन्ट्रैक्ट भरा है। तो तब हम लोग जाते थे, कमिश्नर हर हफ्ते मीटिंग लेते थे, रत्नाकर गायकवाड़, और पूरा जो उनका स्टाफ है उनको बोलते थे कि ये महिला है और ये कॉन्ट्रैक्टर है। तो वो आजू बाजू के जो भी सिविल इंजीनियर थे या एग्जीक्यूटिव थे या बाकी के जो भी संबंधित अधिकारी थे, बाकी की जो संस्था के पास, जो 7 संस्था थी उनके पास लेडीज कॉन्ट्रैक्टर नहीं थे, वो सब जेंट्स थे। तो अच्छे से हमको देखते थे और हंसते थे। हम जब वर्क ऑर्डर लेने गए, ये पूरा हो गया हमारा प्रोसीजर, ये फाइल सबमिट की, ये प्रपोजल सबमिट किया, अभी ये रोडा का हमको वर्क ऑर्डर दे दो। तो वो प्लान बन गया पूरा, हमने सबमिट किया, तो हमको वर्क ऑर्डर दे दो। तो हमको हंसते थे, आप कॉन्ट्रैक्टर है, आप कॉन्ट्रैक्ट का काम करने वाले हैं? हम बोलते थे हाँ। तो एक दिन तो ऐसा हो गया, 8 मार्च महिला दिन था और 4 फेज का हमको टेंडर भरना था, टेंडर सिस्टम रखा था। फर्स्ट फेज, सेकंड फेज में टेंडर सिस्टम नहीं था क्योंकि वो DNR प्रोग्राम था। कमिश्नर ने, रत्नाकर गायकवाड़ ने वो डायरेक्टली किया था, उसमें संस्था को ही लिया था, कॉन्ट्रैक्टर को नहीं लिया था। लेकिन सेकंड फेज में हमने देखा कि ये सब पूरे कॉन्ट्रैक्टर हमने नहीं भरा, लेकिन 4 फेज में हमने भरा। तब देखा कि पूरे पुणे के जितने भी कॉन्ट्रैक्टर लोगों ने 125 टॉयलेट का टेंडर था, तो उसमें वो लोग अबव काम कर रहे थे। कारपोरेशन के कुछ अधिकारी, कुछ पॉलिटिक्स लोग और कुछ कॉन्ट्रैक्टर लोग ज्यादा पैसा डाल के, अगर 100 रुपए का एक है तो उसमें 150 रुपए, 180 रुपए का टेंडर भर रहे थे। तो हम लोगों ने अबव भरा था, कम। तब हमने बहुत बड़ा चैलेंज स्वीकारा। वो कॉन्ट्रैक्टर लोग हमारे घर तक हमारा पीछा कर रहे थे, आपके पाव तोड़ेंगे, आप कैसा टेंडर भरते हम लोग देखेंगे। और हमको बहुत चैलेंज दे रहे थे, क्योंकि हमने बोला कि क्यों नहीं हम ये चैलेंज स्वीकारे, इसमें क्या भ्रष्टाचार, ये तो देख लेंगे कि ये क्या कर रहे। तब हम लोगों ने टेंडर भरा, हमको 25 ही टॉयलेट का काम मिला, लेकिन बाकी के कॉन्ट्रैक्टर लोगों को ये कम पैसे से भरने के लिए उनको मजबूर किया। तो उन लोगों ने कम पैसे से भरा, तो 2.5 करोड़ रुपए का कारपोरेशन का फायदा हुआ। हमको और ऑर्डर देने वाली 8 मार्च को एक महिला ही थी, वो बोली कि 8 मार्च दिन में आज आप लोगों ने इतना बड़ा चैलेंज स्वीकारा है और आगे बढ़ो, पीछे मत हटो, ये आपका वर्क ऑर्डर है और ये आप कल से काम चालू करो। तब इन लोगों को ऐसा लगा कि अभी ये पूरा अपना खत्म हो जाएगा, महिला ही पूरे कॉन्ट्रैक्टर बन जाएंगे पुणे में, ऐसा उन लोगों को डर लगा। और फिर आप लोगों को पैसा चाहिए क्या, टक्केवारी चाहिए क्या, आप कैंसिल करो, ऐसा वो लोग बोलने लगे। हम बोले हम टक्केवारी नहीं चाहते, लोगों की सुविधा है, ये लोगों का पैसा है, लोगों को अच्छी सुविधा मिलनी चाहिए, अच्छी क्वालिटी का काम लोगों को मिलना चाहिए, लोगों को, बच्चों को, महिलाओं को अच्छी सुविधा मिलनी चाहिए। रोड पे महिलाएं नहाती है तो उनको बाथरूम चाहिए, बच्चे लोग रोड पे टॉयलेट को जाते हैं तो उनको टॉयलेट, चिल्ड्रन टॉयलेट चाहिए। अगर यूरिनल के लिए आदमी लोग कहाँ वहां जाते हैं, औरत लोग शर्माते हैं तो उनको यूरिनल चाहिए। इसके लिए हम लोग ये टेंडर भर रहे, बाकी हमारा इसमें कुछ भी फायदा नहीं है। ऐसा करके फिर वो लोग पीछे हट गए, सिस्टम से काम करने लगे। लेकिन बहुत बड़ा अनुभव आया, कारपोरेशन के पास तो अनुभव आया ही आया। कुछ लोग कारपोरेशन के अच्छे थे कि नहीं ये महिलाएं अच्छा काम कर रहे, इनको रिस्पॉन्स दे दो। और कुछ पॉलिटिक्स लोगों का भी हमको ये अनुभव आया कि पॉलिटिक्स लोग अच्छे भी है और उसमें टक्केवारी मांगने वाले भी है और हमारे ऊपर हंसने वाले भी है, हमारा पाव खींचने वाले भी है। और कोई लोगों ने तो गंदी नजर से भी हम लोगों को रात को बुलाया, फिर हम मिर्ची पाउडर लेके गए, क्यों ये रात को बुलाता है, जाके देखेंगे, ग्रुप से गए। ये भी इसमें अनुभव आ गया हमको। ऐसा भी अनुभव आया कि ये क्या औरत लोग काम करेंगे, इनका रेती चोरो, इनका स्टील चोरो, इनका ये इन लोगों को गुंड बस्ती के गुंडे लोगों को लाके इनको टॉर्चर करो। ये महिला कॉन्ट्रैक्टर पुणे में होनी ही नहीं चाहिए। इसके लिए बहुत सारा हम लोगों ने चैलेंज लिया, टॉर्चर किया, सन किया। हम लोगों ने मेंटेलिटी तैयार की कि ये काम में चैलेंजेस है तो ये काम में रिस्क भी है। मेंटेलिटी ऐसी चेंज की हम लोगों ने कि जो भी रिस्क हो अभी सहन करना है और उसको फेस करना है और उनको मुंह तोड़ जवाब भी देना है। तो ऐसा करते करते हम लोग कॉन्ट्रैक्टर बन गए। एक दिन ऐसा आ गया कि पूरे कारपोरेशन के लोगों ने, पॉलिटिक्स लोगों ने और कारपोरेशन के अधिकारी लोगों ने हमको ही पहला रिस्पॉन्स दिया, हमको ही पहला बुलाया कि बीएससीपी योजना आने वाली है पुणे में, ग्राउंड लेवल पे महिला ये काम करती है तो इनको ही पहला बुलाया जाए। तो पहले हमको रिस्पॉन्स देके पहला बीएससीपी का काम हमको मिला। फिर उसमें हम लोग कैसे कॉन्ट्रैक्टर बन गए, तो ये पार्श्वभूमि लेके हम लोग आहिस्ता आहिस्ता इसमें भी कॉन्ट्रैक्टर बन गए।
सविता जी, ये तो मतलब आपको ना आर्किटेक्चर कॉलेजेस उन सब जगह में जाना चाहिए जहाँ पे वुमेन कंस्ट्रक्शन में काम कर रही है। फिर जो आपने बलबूती दिखाई है और आपकी पूरे महिला मिलन ने दिखाई है, वो हमें कोई सिखाता नहीं है। मतलब मैं खुद एक आर्किटेक्ट हूँ, पर जिस तरीके से आपने बोला उससे एक होप लगती है कि हाँ कर सकते हैं, साइट पे काम कर सकते हैं, घबराने की क्या बात है। सो आई थिंक बहुत वैल्यूएबल है। कीर्ति जी, आप कुछ कह रहे थे बीच में। कीर्ति जी को मैं कह रही थी कि वो कुछ कह रहे थे। आप म्यूट पे हैं नहीं? ओके, अच्छा।
No, I think I'm okay. Please, let's move on.
ओके। नहीं, सविता जी, थैंक यू सो मच। आपने बहुत समय दिया हमें और हमें काफी लेसन्स मिले आपसे। सो आई थिंक हम दोबारा इस पे चर्चा करेंगे, इस बात के ऊपर भी। मैं चाहूंगी कि मैं अगले स्पीकर की तरफ भी चलूं।
You're mute. Nidhi, you're on mute.
This is the heights. Sorry, I'm so sorry. So our next speaker is Lara Shankar Chandra, who's the Director, Strategy, Advocacy and Partnership, Habitat for Humanity India. Lara has over 16 years of experience as a social development professional in India. She's a published author with Penguin India, and she's on the board of trustees of Kirtee Team, a communication praxis organization, and is the founder and advisory board member of Citizen Association of Children's Right, an NGO working in education and WASH in Maharashtra. She's the director for strategy and advocacy for Habitat for Humanity, which has launched a very innovative project called nirmanshramik, which is training 3,000 women construction workers and nurturing at least 50 social entrepreneurs. So Lara, over to you. We would love to hear from you, your engagement with women construction workers, and a little more about the project and the entire gamut of challenges also that you guys are facing in this project, and how are you addressing it?
Thank you, Nidhi, and thank you, Kirtee ji, for organizing so many webinars to really get the social sector together and discuss all the issues in urban, obviously linked to rural as well. But after Savita ji, this work is really difficult for me to do. So energizing to listening to Savita and remembering Dr. Jokin, such a visionary, and I had met him. सविता जी से भी मैं मिली हूँ और उनको सुन के हमेशा इतनी प्रेरणा मिलती है कि बस थैंक यू सो मच और बस अब हम I'm going to take you to Habitat's work in उड़ीसा एंड महाराष्ट्र. हमारा एक प्रोजेक्ट है निर्माणश्री और हमने भी ये पहली बार विमेन्स एम्पावरमेंट का प्रोजेक्ट लिया है हाउसिंग इकोसिस्टम के अंदर. Or I have a few slides, so I'll just quickly go into the slides and definitely then we can go into a discussion. Yeah, all right. So that's Habitat's vision to see that everybody has a home. हमारी ये कोशिश है कि हर एक फैमिली, हर एक इंसान इज्जत से घर में रहे और घर के आसपास जो भी सुविधाएं होनी चाहिए जैसे टॉयलेट की, बाथरूम की और अब हम किचन गार्डन की बात भी कर रहे हैं बिकॉज इट्स जस्ट नीड्स. लॉकडाउन के समय हमने देखा कि जहाँ पे भी हमने महिलाओं को किचन गार्डन के लिए मदद की थी उनके परिवार बहुत सुखी रह पाए through the lockdown. And then we also go into the community in terms of roads and infrastructure. So बहुत सी चीजें हैं जो घर से शुरू होती हैं पर वहां पे खत्म नहीं होती. Can you Okay. I just want to take you to a little macro look at why we are talking about housing as an economic recovery driver way forward after COVID. And it's not still over. The pandemic is perhaps still here. But Habitat for Humanity International, which is the parent organization, also has the Twilliger Center for Innovation and Shelter, which has done a study with the University of Pennsylvania, the Wharton School, and it has shown us through across a number of countries that housing contributes almost 16% to the GDP of India. And this is a huge contributor, and therefore we are positioning housing and specifically affordable housing as an economic driver way forward, which has many social benefits. It also has an economic employer multiplier effect. There is another study done by the University of South California, again with TCIS, Habitat for Humanity International, which emphasizes that construction is the second largest employer in India after agriculture. And therefore it is a huge opportunity, and if we do not look at it in terms of how women can make use of this opportunity, or rather how the country can position this opportunity for actually enhancing women's rights and women's empowerment. Which brings me to Nirmanshri, and Habitat has come into this project really to position what is the role of women construction workers in the housing ecosystem. So I'm very happy to position Habitat's work here and to receive this opportunity to really talk about this project, because generally we do housing projects, sanitation, wash projects, and disaster response projects. So this is really an opportunity for us to share our work in women's empowerment. So Project Nirmanshri is really about empowering marginalized women to creating economic opportunities and improving access to services and entitlements related to housing, including drinking water, sanitation, and energy solutions. What we set out to do 2 years back. The project is still active. The period of the project is January 2020 2020 to December 2022 with a 1-year extension because of the challenges we have faced because of COVID. It set out to train 3,000 women in technical and entrepreneurial skills. From that, also to create a support system of SHGs and Women's Federation and the local community to identify and mobilize women to take EDP training, and then from there identify 50 women who will be helped by Habitat for Humanity India to start or expand their enterprises, social enterprises, again related in the housing ecosystem. What has helped us along the way is a lot of linkages with the local community, SHGs, women federations, then the district level government and various government departments, and also technology in the way of Nirman app, which brings to the women small video snippets, information about entrepreneurship, about construction, about various products of the housing ecosystem in the language of Orissa and Maharashtra, so that it is close to them. It helps them really build their capacity. It also gives them the confidence that they have information about social schemes and entitlements and linkages with financial institutions, and how does one access financial institutions. In addition to that, we have a very big objective of influencing policy at the strategic level through advocacy at the district, state, and national level. This is something that will really come out of निर्माण श्री. हमारी जो सीख है निर्माण श्री से, पहली बारी हमने उड़ीसा और महाराष्ट्र में women संगठन के साथ काम किया है. This entire issue of migrant labor in women and construction skilling in women को जो लेके हमने सीखा है, we would like to take this forward at this district and state level, so that we can improve the implementation of the schemes, linkages, convergence and synergies, and also build this ecosystem. Ultimately, improvement and empowerment to women in the construction skill industry, we would like it to improve the housing conditions of at least 2 lakh families, and there is a plan for this in this current year. The locations, as I said, is Odisha and Maharashtra. So the main components of Nirman Shri are training. This is capacity building, preparing the women, enhancing their skills for upward mobility. So 3,000, more than 3,000 women actually we've reached. We've had to identify them, mobilize them. So a lot of networking with local NGOs, SHG groups, women's federations, to actually identify women who are already construction workers and women who want to get into the construction sector. The trainings that have been provided are construction skill training, rainwater harvesting products, green housing products, the EDP training from the MSME department, and government skill scheme training on what are the schemes available and how they can access them. We've been able to help in certify a large number of women get the NSDC certification. We've also been able to provide the EDP training and mobilize women to receive the EDP training. So now we've also become like a facilitator for government to implement the government scheme. And we've also seen that whether the women are in construction or in allied services, it really helps their confidence. It helps them to think about new ways of running their house, or also thinking about entrepreneurship and new ideas. So it's really about starting from the fact that women have an opportunity, and entrepreneurship skill development training along with the MSME department of the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. Just coming to how this has become possible, and as I said, a lot of networking at the community level. Communication में हमारा बहुत टाइम गया है, एनर्जी गया है, पोस्टर्स, लीफलेट्स उनको जगह जगह पे लगाना, स्ट्रेटेजिक लोकेशंस में, हाउस टू हाउस सर्वेज, कम्युनिटी मीटिंग्स, wall paintings, small videos through these apps, connecting women, creating this kind of network of women where women facilitate each other's confidence. I think this is something that has really built the foundation of this project. And through 2020 is when this project started, which was the COVID year. And I must really appreciate the local NGOs, SHGs who worked with Habitat and seen meaning in this, that women do want to get certified. They want to, get more capacitated and receive the trainings that are available for them. Technology, as I mentioned, the Nirman app, which is currently functioning. And then, of course, from the 3,000 women, 50 women to have been identified to develop the social enterprises, a lot of knowledge, skills, seed funding of 50,000 rupees, access to financial institutions like banks and government schemes where two women have already got loans, and this is something encouraging the other women, and we are completely hand holding them through the training, capacity building, development of social enterprise, market linkages and financial linkages, and this is really motivating other women as well. In fact, to handhold 50 women social enterprises, we've also had to develop and capacitate 50 um, uh, 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 hand holders in terms of support women. And in fact, they are also wanting to start their own social enterprises, but we only have this budget from the EU to support 50 women social enterprises. So really this program can be scaled and grown. And what has really helped us and what can help us to scale is the partnerships that we have sought at every level, be it the NGOs and SHGs and federations at the local level, then with the district administration and government departments, land revenue, housing, panchayat raj, water sanitation, livelihood mission, MSME, women and child, linkages with Manrega, where the trained women have been linked to get employment in local infrastructure jobs. It helps them to get the employment, sustain the employment, because now they have the certificate, so they're more likely to get the job and also remain in the job. And after 2 years of successfully showcasing this training and the certification, we are now advocating for a 25% increase in wages for women. Now, all this training is at the assistant mason level, and I did hear Mathew G say that, you don't see Nidhi mentioned that you don't see a mason who's a woman, and it is true. I mean, for us as well, this will be a learning as how do we move this project ahead to making the women who are now trained as assistant masons as mason. And it's the same arguments of not being equipped or not being physically able, and also the fact that we've heard the same things, that they don't work enough. Well, if this is true, there is a reason, because they also have to look after their families and children. जब एक महिला अपना गांव छोड़ के अर्बन एरिया में माइग्रेंट लेबर बनती है, तो वो सिर्फ माइग्रेंट लेबर नहीं होती है, उसके साथ उसके बच्चे, उसका परिवार सब जाता है. And and they go along with their husbands, and at the max that they can do is be a helper at the site, because they don't have the time or the skill to move beyond that. So it will be very interesting to put together all these inputs that you have got from various sectors of this construction ecosystem, and who can plug which gap. I think it's going to be very. I mean, I'm going to look forward to what Sehreeti and INHAF does next. So these are just some case studies just to show you that there are actual women, and I think photographs make a difference. So there is this Mohini who has started a water purification system in her house, and she has been able to address the health needs and reduce the number of illnesses in families, because she has been able to provide clean drinking water to the families and also charge a fees for it. So this is, and she's received the EDP training. She hopes to expand her business. This is Satyabhama Sahu, who has in Orissa, who's been making these cement products, and she's really thankful to Habitat and European Union because she has been able to set up this business. She's been able to get a small loan from the Gramya Bank, and today she's also a widow with 2 sons, but has been able to sustain herself. She earns about 7 to 8,000 rupees a month, and so it's only more promising from now, where we can build her market linkages and financial linkages. This is Dipanjali, who's really an icon there now, because she started off from the SHG. She too went into construction material products, and she was linked by Habitat India to the Prime Minister's Employment Generation Program scheme. She has recently received a loan of 4 plus lakhs, and this is something that is very encouraging for all the other women, the 50 social enterprises that are on board, and also the other in the 3,000 women who've been trained, because once we can demonstrate that government linkages, social entitlements, financial linkages can help just broaden the horizon. And this is the work that Habitat must do as a facilitator, because this is what we see our role in. How can we pilot something, demonstrate something, and then ensure that the linkages are made for it to grow? This is a dashboard, in a sense, the numbers. 3,124 women have been enrolled, trained, and assessed, and have received the NSDC certification. 3,255 women have received the EDP training and various government scheme training and low carbon emission product training. 200 women were identified, of which 50 micro enterprises was chosen. They are being supported by 50 women field supporters. So there is another segment of women that is walking along and also eager to kind of join this empowerment movement. Seed funding of 50,000 rupees has helped these women really to start off. And as I said, linkages with schemes and financial institutions. Being there in the ground now, the women who are in touch with Habitat's program, they mobilize other women to receive this EDP training. So this is the kind of chain that started, which we're very happy to kind of initiate it. And 2 out of 20 women who were applied have received the Prime Minister Employee Generation Program loan. And as I said, that's extremely encouraging for the rest. Now, coming to challenges, which is really now after 2 years and 1 year now that we have to really focus on advocacy, government partnerships, linkages, we just feel that the schemes are there, the institutes are there. We need to mobilize more women to receive this EDP training. We need to somehow build a cadre of women, or utilize the existing cadre of women to bring more women in. And hand-holding support is extremely crucial. No one can do something like this and innovate something like this without the hand-holding. And this is what Habitat's housing support services provides at the local level. It links them to entrepreneurship and also housing. Then the need for advocacy is something that we don't want to just do it with our preliminary understanding of 2 years of this project, but we're hoping to institute a gap analysis study, and that will really tell us as to what are the gaps at the district and state and national level, and what can we really recommend, and which body of government or allied government we are to work with to change things. And advocating for trained and certified women to get wages at par with men. We have started to advocate for a 25% increase. Now, this is still at the assistant mason level, and long-term support from stakeholders beyond the project period, and hence empowering women to get familiar with the process and approaching these stakeholders. For instance, banks and financial institutions, etc. Opportunities definitely to scale, because we see a uh, huge merit in making this happen. Nirmanshri 2 perhaps, or a pan-India Nirmanshri for 10 years, but of course all depends upon funding. And uh, there is one role in mobilizing women, the other role in ensuring that the schemes are being implemented. Now there's an e-Shram portal for migrant labor, and we've also started, we feel that there should be some space where women can get to know more information, or the Nirman Act can be used to provide women the information that can help them or register them, etc. Linkages to receive proper training and proper loans, more convergence and synergies at the state level, and just being a kind of an integrator and data. I think this role is extremely important. All that even Savita ji shared, these grassroots experiences from Nirmanshi, from Mahila Milan, are so important to really interact with the government and tell them how things can actually work. So yeah, that's that. Thank you.
Thank you
Happy to
so
listen.
much, Lara. This was, I think, really brilliant. Savita ji is also clapping on that. This was really great, and I love the role that you're saying, that you as a facilitator or an enabler in the
Yeah.
process. So we know we are a lot, within the ecosystem, there are a lot of separate parts which exist. There are various schemes, but they're not being accessed, or there's skilling happening, but no placement is happening. So the fact that you've integrated an entrepreneurship development program within that, I think that's very innovative. And I would also request Kirtee ji, would you have any
Yes,
questions?
yes. I have Lara ji. First of all, thank you very much. This is remarkably rich story and a remarkably good presentation. So thank you very much. And obviously, this is what one expects from you. There are two things that I wanted to ask you. Not only you, I think all the panel members, and maybe this is how I would have started. But now let me come in between. One is this, that we did 3 webinars on heritage conservation. There's a reason I'm telling this story. And in 3 webinars, we had something like 20 experts who came and participated over a period of about 3 months. And then the people who were anchoring this webinar told each one of them that besides your presentation, give us a 1,500-word write-up in terms of what would you like see done over a period of time in the context of heritage conservation in India. And you won't believe me, the response is so good that the manuscript of the book based on this will be ready next month. We're producing a book. The reason I'm telling you this story is this, that as Nidhi ji said, this particular webinar series on women construction workers and their role in skilled jobs is not only a webinar series. It is essentially an action project, a project where we want things to happen. And therefore, this particular webinar series is also an opportunity to identify partners, identify resource people, identify people who could contribute meaningfully to this process. We couldn't have come across a better person than you and Habitat for Humanity. What I want to suggest to you and the other panelists is this. Whether after this particular meeting is over, after 10 days, 15 days, whenever you can find time, we would like you to answer one question. and that is this. And I will rattle up this list of stakeholders that we have put together. I have a list of 13 stakeholders, which is government, association of construction workers, big builders, women's organizations, civil society, NGOs, all that. You know that list. And we would like you to say, just give one idea in terms of what you think each one of them should do to contribute to not only women's empowerment, but so that the women get into skilled construction jobs. I thought if this happens, we would not only, I think, get many ideas, we also will get synchronized ideas. We could work further on that. So my first request is to you and to other panel members that they give thought to one good idea in terms of what should national government do, what should state government do, what should local government should do, what should association of construction workers do to see that the women get into skilled construction jobs. If that happens, it would be wonderful. And before I move, do you think, Lara ji, this is something possible? Number two, do you think you could be a partner in this whole process of discovering and find ways? So not only we talk well, we also, I think, find ways for action, national policy, state policy, and many other things that could happen. Do you think this is doable? Do you think you would like to kind of come in and join? Do you think you could answer this particular question that I asked? And of course, other panelists.
Yeah.
Lara ji.
Yeah, thank you. Please call me Lara, Kirtee ji. This is really embarrassing, but thank you. And of course, you're a man of ideas, and you make sure that your ideas also come true. You make them happen, and we are here to walk the road that you set. I think Nidhi and I will definitely discuss this. Habitat for Humanity across India has, I think, at least the canvas to get experiences and learnings from what is happening with whether it's masonry, with contractors, with construction in the construction sector. We could, I mean, where is the private sector in all this, and how do we bring different partners and different players together. I do understand that, we have had this experience of 2 to 3 years on the ground working with women construction workers, but there is a 36 years of experience of being in the housing ecosystem. And along with my fellow panelists, along with you, your ideas, I feel we could begin at the state level and then demonstrate what's working, and what are the challenges for women to find a place in the construction ecosystem, it being the second largest employer in the country. I mean, I understand that even agriculture has its challenges. 60% of the work is done by women and 2% owned land. We've heard so much of this really recently because of all the farmer protests. We are ourselves are demanding land for housing, and that kind of we intersect for women's right to land, but of course our focus is housing, because we also can't kind of talk about all the issues. We start from housing and we hope to address women's issues, land issues, sanitation issues, livelihood issues, etc. We've also gone on to addressing issues of family well-being and nutrition and education and health, because we feel that so much starts with housing, and it just doesn't end there. But yeah, absolutely, thank you for this idea, and we ourselves need to chalk out the advocacy agenda for 2023 for Nirmanshri. So definitely we'll be in touch and take this idea out, and as you say, a compendium or a book on what the different players can bring on to this entire issue of making women a large and a significant part of the construction industry, and ensure that they are skilled and there is upward mobility. And as Savita ji said, that why not? you know. So I don't know what's stopping us. So yeah, we will.
Exactly. That we need to ask that question, and we need to answer that question. The time has come to do that. It's not only asking questions, not enough. No one is asking this question. And therefore, first ask questions and then answer it. And I think, and you've been very innovative. I think you not only talked about, I think training, you talked about inbuilt entrepreneurship. And I think, the list of things that you've done is absolutely stunning. Terrific.
Thank you.
Very, very
Thank
good.
you.
That's
Thank you.
wonderful.
And I'm
Wonderful.
going to convey this congratulations to the team at Habitat India, led by Dr. Rajan Samuel and my colleague Davidson, who's also on this call, and he's the real leader behind this project. I'm only the face in terms of the advocacy and strategic partnerships kind of people. You know what I do? We get the opportunity to talk about the work, but the actual work done by the team on the ground is something that I'll definitely take your well wishes to them. Thank you.
I'll call Rajan ji and tell him that Lara was wonderful. Very good.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank
Wonderful.
you so
Thank you.
much. Thanks so much, Lara. And I think, yes, we will definitely come back to you and loop this discussion back on this. I'm going to go ahead and listen to another journey, really. And Kamlesh ji, अगर आप अपना वीडियो ऑन कर सके. So कमलेश जी ने दिल्ली श्रमिक संगठन से ट्रेनिंग ली थी. हाँ जी कमलेश जी. तो मैं आपके बारे में बस बता रही थी कि आपने कंस्ट्रक्शन के लिए स्किल ट्रेनिंग ली थी दिल्ली श्रमिक संगठन से. एंड अब आप कौन सा काम करती हैं? आप कॉन्ट्रैक्टर का काम करती हैं?
जी नहीं, मैं कुली का काम करती हूँ मैम.
अच्छा.
हाँ जी.
आपका वीडियो आप ऑन करेंगी या कर सकती हैं?
1 मिनट अभी करती हूँ
जी.
ये तो करना है.
जैसे भी आपको कंफर्टेबल लगे फोन को पकड़ लीजिए, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं. अगर आपको सीधा पकड़ना है देख लीजिए, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं.
हाँ जी, अभी कर
जी.
हाँ जी.
हाँ जी. ठीक है. तो कमलेश जी, थोड़ा आप अपने बारे में बताएं कि आप कैसे कंस्ट्रक्शन सेक्टर में आई और आपने क्या ट्रेनिंग ली और आप क्या काम करती हैं, उसके बारे में आप पहले बताइएगा. एंड आप दिल्ली में हैं?
हाँ जी, मैं दिल्ली में रहती हूँ
जी.
मेरा फेस है सेक्टर 3 फेज 1 द्वारका में रहती हूँ
जी. तो आपने
और मैं
आप क्या काम करती हैं?
हाँ जी, मैं कुली का काम करती हूँ और मैं दिल्ली निर्माण मजदूर संगठन से जुड़ी हुई हूँ और मैंने वहां से ट्रेनिंग ली. पहले तो हम लोग जाते थे काम पे, मैं अपने पति के साथ जाती थी. तो पहले हमें कुछ पता नहीं था इतना, हम वैसे ही काम कर लेते थे. हम ईंट मसाला बस यही देना जानते थे और हम पहले औजारों के नाम भी जानते थे जल्दी से. लेकिन हम संगठन के द्वारा हमने ट्रेनिंग ली थी, उसमें हमें सिखाया कि औजारों के नाम बताए और हमें मिस्त्री की ट्रेनिंग दी. हमें अब हम पहले मजदूर थे लेकिन अब हम मिस्त्री हो गए. हम अब मिस्त्री का काम करते हैं और जो हम पहले पति के साथ जाते थे मजदूरी करते थे तो हमें कुछ भी दिहाड़ी दे देते थे, 300-250 हम ले लेते थे. लेकिन अब हमने ट्रेनिंग ली है, हमें ट्रेनिंग से बहुत फायदा हुआ है. हम अब ट्रेनिंग लेकर अब हम कहीं पे काम करने जाते हैं तो हम 500 से कम किसी से दिहाड़ी नहीं लेते हैं. हम उनको बोल देते हैं कि हमें 500 रुपए चाहिए, आपको कराना है कराओ, नहीं कराना मत कराओ. तो हम 500 से कम किसी से नहीं लेते क्योंकि हम मिस्त्री हो गए अब पूरे. तो हम मिस्त्री का ही काम करते हैं. अब हम चिनाई भी कर लेते हैं. हमारे को ट्रेनिंग लेके हमें बहुत फायदा हुआ है. हमें अपनी दिहाड़ी का भी पता चलता है, हमें दिहाड़ी भी पता है. अब पहले तो हमें कोई भी कुछ भी दे देते थे तो हम ले लेते थे, लेकिन अब हम अपनी दिहाड़ी का जानते हैं. 500 रुपए से कम हम किसी से दिहाड़ी नहीं लेते हैं. और दूसरी बात, अब हमने ट्रेनिंग से हमें इतना फायदा हुआ है कि हम आपको बता नहीं सकते. और हमें संगठन में, जैसे हम संगठन में गए, हमारी इज्जत भी बढ़ी. हमारा नाम इज्जत, पहले तो हमें ए ऊ करके बोल देते थे लेकिन अब हम खुद भी बोलते हैं कि हमारे को इज्जत से बोलो, हमारे को ऐसे नहीं बोलोगे, हम नहीं सुनते हैं. अब हम बिल्कुल किसी से उल्टा गलत हम नहीं सुनते हैं. अब बताइए, मिस्त्री है, मिस्त्री तो तम्बाकू भी खाते हैं, बीच में सारा काम करते हैं ना। अब हम लेडीज है, लेडीज तो कुछ नहीं करते, तभी भी हम तो आराम, हम अब बोल देते हैं उनसे कि है ना, आप लोग तो बैठ जाते हो, आप लोग तम्बाकू खा लेते हो, बीड़ी पी लेते हो, हम तो अब हम तो काम करते हैं रेगुलर, तो हम तो अपनी इतनी दिहाड़ी लेंगे, हम ना कम नहीं लेंगे। तो इसलिए मैम मैंने ट्रेनिंग में बहुत कुछ सीखा है अब, और हमारी इज्जत बढ़ी, हमारा नाम बढ़ा है। अब हम किसी की सुनते नहीं है। ट्रेनिंग से हमें बहुत फायदा हुआ है, ट्रेनिंग में जाके तो हम अपने आप को ही बदल लिया हमने। इसलिए मैम
ये तो बहुत खुशी की बात है आपने जो ये बोला कि एक्चुअली काम में इज्जत मिलना सबसे बड़ा इम्पोर्टेंट हो जाता है, पैसे से भी ज्यादा बहुत
हाँ
बार।
जी, हाँ जी।
तो
हम
आपकी जो,
हाँ जी बोलिए।
आप बोलिए, आप बोलिए।
हमने अब सीख लिया कि हमें अपनी बात रखनी चाहिए, हमें ठेकेदार मिस्त्री से बरोबर से बोलना चाहिए। हमारे को पहले तो कुछ भी बोल देते थे, वो ये ऐसे कर ले वैसे कर ले, लेकिन हम नहीं सुनते, हम बोलते हैं। अब हमने बोलना भी सीखा, ट्रेनिंग में हमें बहुत मदद मिली, बहुत फायदा हुआ हमें। हाँ
बहुत
जी
बढ़िया। और आपकी ट्रेनिंग कितनी लंबी थी
जी?
कितने समय की ट्रेनिंग थी?
हमारी ट्रेनिंग थी 10 दिन की।
10 दिन की?
10 दिन की ट्रेनिंग 2018 में मैंने ट्रेनिंग।
एंड जब संगठन में आ जाते हैं तो संगठन क्या क्या सपोर्ट देता है आपको?
संगठन तो समझ ली मैम, जैसे कि मेरे पहले पति थे, तो पति के साथ में काम पर जाती थी। अब मेरे पति खत्म हो गए थे 2017 में, तो उसी के बाद फिर मैं संगठन में ट्रेनिंग हुई, मैं ट्रेनिंग में गई, तो फिर ट्रेनिंग में जाके मैंने सीख लिया सब कुछ कि भी कैसे काम करना चाहिए, क्या बोलना चाहिए, अपनी बात कैसे रखनी चाहिए, ये हमने सीखा। फिर धीरे धीरे हम संगठन में गए, तो संगठन में बढ़ के हमारे को संगठन में सिखाया जाता है कि भी किसी का भी नाम लेते हैं, कैसे लेते हैं, सबों को जी करके बोलना चाहिए कि ऐसे नहीं, कोई वो आदमी है तो आदमी की इज्जत है, औरत की कोई इज्जत नहीं है। तो हमारे को आदमी औरत का बराबर सम्मान करना सिखाते हैं, लड़का लड़की में भेदभाव नहीं करना, लड़का और लड़की बराबर है, और औरत और मर्द में कोई फर्क नहीं है। आप लोग दिहाड़ी भी लेते हो तो ना, आदमी की ज्यादा होती है, औरत की कम होती है, लेकिन नहीं, आप लोग बराबर काम करते हो। तो हमें संगठन में सब कुछ सिखाया जाता है। संगठन से भी मेरे को बहुत मदद मिली है। अब मैं अकेली हूँ, मानो कि विधवा औरत होती है तो कोई भी जीने नहीं देता कि भाई ये विधवा है, ये ऐसे है वैसे, लेकिन संगठन में मेरे को बहुत कुछ सिखाया कि है ना, आप ना विधवा हो तो ये थोड़ी ना कि अपनी जिंदगी खत्म हो गई। लेकिन मैंने तो सोचा था मैम कि मेरी जिंदगी खत्म हो गई, लेकिन संगठन में जाके हमारे रमेंद्र सर ने हमें बहुत हिम्मत दी। तो मैं रविंद्र सर का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद करना चाहूंगी।
जी जी बिल्कुल, उन्होंने हमें आपसे मिलाया, हम उनका धन्यवाद भी करना चाहेंगे। कीर्ति जी, आप कुछ कह रहे थे?
बहन जी कमलेश जी, आपने जो बताया, हम हमेशा विमेन बहनों की एम्पावरमेंट की बात करते हैं। मैंने आपके मुंह से एम्पावरमेंट क्या होता है वो सुना, और मुझे आश्चर्य हुआ, सच बोलता हूँ, आश्चर्य हुआ कि आप जो ट्रेनिंग की बात करते, वो सिर्फ 10 दिन की ट्रेनिंग थी। हाँ जी। यदि आपकी ट्रेनिंग 30 दिन की होती, 2 महीने की होती, 3 महीने की होती, तो मैं समझता हूँ आप दिल्ली को सर कर देती। आई थिंक यू वुड टेक ओवर दिल्ली। अमेजिंग, बिल्कुल बिल्कुल, बहुत ही सिंपल है। नो, लेकिन आपने 2-3 बातें बताई, मैं जो दोहराना चाहता हूँ, आपसे पूछना चाहता हूँ। पहली बात आपने बताई कि ट्रेनिंग ने आपको काम नहीं सिखाया, ट्रेनिंग ने आपकी जिंदगी बदल दी, वो आपने बताया। पहली बात ये। हाँ जी। दूसरी बात आपने बताई कि ये ट्रेनिंग ने जो हमें किया, तो अब हम हमारी कीमत समझ गए। हाँ जी। हम बोलते हैं कि हम 250 रुपया में नहीं काम करेंगे, 300 में नहीं काम करेंगे, हम 500 से कम नहीं लेंगे। हाँ जी। बहन जी, मैं आपको ये पूछना चाहता हूँ बहन जी कि आप जो साइट पे काम करते हो, हाँ जी, वो साइट में मैसन भी काम करता है, वो कड़िया भी काम करता है, कारपेंटर भी काम करता है और मेसन को 800 रुपया मिलता है, कारपेंटर को 1000 रुपया मिलता है। मैं आपको पूछना चाहता हूं कि यदि आप दूसरी ट्रेनिंग लेके 1 महीने की, 2 महीने की, 6 महीने, आप वो जगह पे पहुंचोगे जहां कहोगे 800 रुपया से कम नहीं लेंगे।
हाँ जी, 800,000 रुपए से कम नहीं लेंगे फिर तो हम।
अच्छा,
तो हम सीख जाएंगे। हाँ जी सर।
और हम ये भी पूछना चाहते हैं कि आपको मेसन बनने में, कारपेंटर बनने में, प्लम्बर बनने में, कारपेंटर बनने में जो रास्ते में रुकावट है, उसमें उसको सामना करने के लिए भी आप जैसी औरतें और आप जैसे संगठन की बहुत ही जरूरत है। आप बहुत ही प्रेरणा दे रही हैं, बहुत ही अच्छा बोल रही है, टेरिफिक, बहुत ही अच्छा लगा मुझे। बहुत ही अच्छा लगा बहन जी, बहुत ही, आपने हमारी ये मीटिंग को बहुत ही बड़ा कर दिया, अच्छा कर दिया। थैंक यू वेरी मच, यू एम्पावर्ड द होल प्रोसेस। थैंक यू, बहुत ही अच्छा हुआ। या ओके, ठीक, शुक्रिया, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया। आपको दिल्ली में मिलने आएंगे कभी। हाँ,
धन्यवाद सर।
जी जी,
जरूर आइए सर हमारे साथ।
जी
धन्यवाद
जी जी, थैंक यू सो मच। मैं अब अपने अगले और भी चलूंगी। थैंक यू कमलेश जी। हमारी अगली पैनलिस्ट, our next panelist is Thresiamma Mathew. She is the director of Archana Women Center. She is a well-known specialist in women empowerment through her numerous efforts to bring women into non-traditional livelihood skills and fighting for equal wages for equal jobs for women. She served as Director of Gender and Development Vertical in Socio-Economic Units, Kerala till 2004. She presently acts as the founder director of Archana Women Center, which has trained and placed more than 3,500 women in the construction field at par with men. She was awarded with the Creativity in Rural Women Life Award by Women's World Summit Foundation, Geneva in 2003, and the Outstanding Women Entrepreneur Award by Federation of Indian Women, New Delhi in 2014. Ms. Mathew, thank you so much for joining us. If you would like to, your video is on. Could you tell us more about your work, and since the way you also nurtured women in the construction sector? So how did you go about it? What are the challenges that you met in the process, and how did you combat them? So we've heard few of the workers ourselves today at the forum, but we would love to know your model of training them, and how did you go about this? Over to you, Ms. Mathew.
Thank you very much. It was so overwhelming to listen to all these ladies, especially our Kavita and this is
Kamlesh
and Savita.
Yeah. Extremely pleased to hear that such strong women have taken up this trade. And also for organizing for Mr. Kirtee, Shah and all those Nidhi, no? Yes.
Yes. Thank you, ma'am.
For long time I had really wished that someone who is really able to influence the government should start something like this of organizing all the workers who are in the construction field or study about their problems and organize something of this sort. So finally, I'm so happy that Kirtee and Nidhi have started this kind of a study and indirect exchanges. Thank you for inviting me to this webinar. As for me, I'm not an engineer. I'm not a social worker. I'm only a social worker. What made me think of bringing women into this skilled workforce is the pathetic situation the construction laborers, or what we call helpers to masons in our place, is undergoing. Many things. That is, they are ill-treated. They are less paid than men, not even half paid than men helper. And also, they are in many ways exploited. So I happen to see that personally in a social project in socioeconomic units, Kerala, which was for water supply and sanitation in Kerala in 72 panchayats. So as I was working along with this project, I happened to meet with these women, many women who were coming into to assist the masons in the toilet construction. And I saw their very meager earning. And women were, most of the women who were in the helper's position were women who needed to earn a living for their family. Because either they were widows or the husbands were not taking care of the families. So that is the pain and the suffering and the belittling and the ridiculing that these women were facing in the society, which made me think of entering into a revolutionary change that was to make women as to bring women as masons. You know, from the very beginning of my idea, the women themselves resisted it. My colleagues resisted it. And even anybody to whom I spoke of this, everyone laughed at me. Can women become masons? Can women become carpenters? Can women become really skilled workers? This is not meant for women like that. But I was not willing to give up. It went on. I went on thinking to myself, speaking to some women-friendly people, my own socioeconomic advisor, who was a Dutch lady. So she asked me, go ahead, you try to find a way. And then it was a great support for me to do that. Then slowly, but the women, no one was willing to start as a mason. So they said it is against God's own law. Women are supposed to be only helpers. And then even one of the women who had taken this spade to, when the mason had gone away for his lunch, to try to put some cement on a brick. When the mason came back, she was hit by that spade on her hand so strongly that she still has a mark on her hand. And now this woman has become, through my training, the best mason. She had studied only 2 standards in the school, but she has become a master mason. And I don't know, in so many construction of houses, other buildings, she has participated, taken her own initiative to start her own construction like that. So in the beginning, finally, through motivating for more than 8 to 10 months, around 12 women told me, okay, you teach us, we will try to learn. Nobody had the confidence that they can learn. That they all feared the ridiculing of others and the fear of failing. But suddenly, in 1989, towards the end, there was August, September, like that, I was able to get them round to begin this path-breaking intervention. So I took 3 months in the beginning to train them. At first, I had a training, social training that I called for 5 days to change their mindset, to make them believe in themselves, to tell them, to make them say that I can. So we formulated many 10 commandments with the women themselves to make a successful mason for herself. So like that, this 5 days training made them such a big difference into their attitude, their mentality, their way of looking at themselves, their way of looking at the society. and so on. And they became capable of saying that we will learn like that. So I had to find a friendly mason to teach them. And our own engineers who were working in the toilet construction project helped me to have the what do you call, the module, and the daily teaching that is to be done. So 3 months we gave them the initial training for that part. But nowadays we don't give 3 months training, only 1 month. Now I know it is to start with, it is enough. But once they started laying the bricks and seeing that, using the plumb and everything, they felt so proud, so happy, and they began to tell themselves, "Yeah, we did it," like that. No. Finally, they succeeded in learning to build the toilets very well, and now they were to be introduced into the field to go into households to build the toilets. But no household wanted a woman to build a toilet in their house because they said the woman's hand is not strong. They believe that it is in the strength of the woman's hand that the construction is held. So it took another few months to educate the society to this was overcome through the help of our ward water committees, whom we motivated and trained and utilized to influence the society to say that the construction is strong when the proper cement mortar mix is used. So like that, with a lot of challenges, we were able to bring in the women, and later on many more women joined in the training, and we had about 250 women in the toilet construction project in different places in Kerala. It was to be done in 72 panchayats. So at the end of the project in 95 around, more than 15,000 toilets the women themselves had done. It means they were the one making the bricks, they were the one casting the slabs, they were the one casting the rings, they were the one making the door. Every aspect of the work was being done by women themselves. No need of a male counterpart with them. Later on, when the construction of toilet project was finished in 95 to around 98, some more. After that, I gave them upscaling of training with the help of Dutch Embassy, women development sector. To tell you, during this training of 3 months, I was insisting on giving them the stipend of 25 rupees, which was the wages at that time given to a helper woman. So during this period, they never missed any income to their family. Instead, because if women were taken away for training, their family will be starving. So it was my strong point that if women are taken for training, we should provide stipend so that their family can eat. After this toilet project was over, there was a great movement from the government, part of the government. There is the Kerala Total Sanitation Project was introduced. And in all the panchayats of Kerala, there's the training of women as masons for toilet construction was introduced through the government machinery. And many of our head masons or master masons were chosen for giving training in different panchayats. So like that, all over Kerala, there was a springing up of latrine mysteries, so to say, latrine mysteries. But when the latrine construction was finished, they were out of work. But now here, the main group was registered as a society, Jivapurna Women Mason Society, all managed by themselves. They have now a hollow bricks making unit, a ring making unit, a paving tile making unit, concrete door window frame making unit, and even a canteen. And they are supplying materials to many contractors and earning a very good living under their own training center established in Thrissur district. After I started the Archana Women's Center in 2004, we were mostly engaged into house constructions, life missions houses like for the poor, and houses for other categories of people. Women were trained in housing, and they were made contractors. As soon as they are very good at calculations and reading plans and everything, they were given, one of them were made the contractors leader, and a group of women were joined together into the construction teams. So like that, the contract was given to them through Archana, wherever we were taking up a construction of house. So like that, they learned to contract house construction or other constructions. In the beginning, the local gram panchayats, the district panchayats started, we approached them, and they started to give work to the women in Thrissur district, in Alapi district, in Koilon district, in Kottayam district, and many districts like that. So many works were carried out for the district panchayats and local gram panchayats, especially in toilet construction, girl-friendly toilet, child-friendly toilet, and lac house repairs and maintenance, and such building of panchayat buildings like that. Lot of works were handed over to our women masons at that time. Now in Archana Women's Center, the women are contractors also. A few of them are as contractors working. They take work, and now presently we were able to register a women labor contractors cooperative society, the first one in Kerala. So we are given the registration just last month, in the month of December, as a construction cooperative labor contractors cooperative society of women. So this gives us a greater mileage. Now we can take a tender from any government institutions, and it gives us 10% less tender money. So like that, some privileges are there. But is the sustainability of these women is really in big question now, because now the NREGS program is there. Most of the women are now entering into this project, and the panchayats are insisting that the women, all the women should join in that. We are now women are less now into the masonry, carpentry, plumbing, etc. We have a group of plumbers, maybe about 15 of them, and a few electricians, less number only, 10 numbers only now really working, and masons maybe less than 50 only now actually in the field of field working under us, but there are others in other districts who are working now. We are being able to train the Kudumbasri for bringing women into the construction field, and Kudumbasri has all the government support to go on establishing themselves. Government provides all the infrastructure facilities for them. So the through Kudumbasri, the Women Mason program is flourishing. We had approached the then Minister of Labor, Sushila Gopalan, asking for recognizing our training center as a women mason and construction training center. But she said that is very surprising. Women can do all these things. Women can be masons. Oh, I never knew like that. But after my request, what she did was, there is the government's own construction wing called Nirmati Kendra in Kerala, and she allotted money to Nirmati Kendra to train women as masons, and through Nirmati Kendra they could undertake much more work than we could undertake as an NGO. So that was the way, in a way, that was institutionalized by the government. But now that is also very much less, because there are only few women who are coming forward for this kind of upgradation in skills. Another problem, I think, why women are not very much desirous now is that the younger generation are well educated. They are looking for other kinds of jobs like nursing or sales girls, or all kind of modern IT in the field of IT, or all kind of things are open to them. It is not like the olden times when they had not much opportunities for work. Recently, we had also had some projects with the MSME, especially in carpentry. Our carpentry workshop is being run by a woman. She has about 5-7 workers with her, and she is able to do any kind of work for the house construction, the doors, windows, everything like that, kitchen cabinets, furniture, everything can be done by our women. Very good training is given, and sometimes our European friends come and help them, teach them in the modern technologies. So they are all well equipped to do those kind of works. So the one of the main problem or challenge I felt was that the patriarchal society, which is still controlling the women's power, is a big hurdle that I am facing. Now we are taking a contract work, the women are taking a contract work maybe of a house. Suddenly they see that today there is 2 women are absent, because anything happened in the family for a child, for a mother-in-law or father-in-law, or whoever falls sick in the family, the woman has to stay by. The men won't take care of that. Again, any issue, now going to school with the children, the mother has to go. If there is a PTA meeting, the mother is going. So most of the family burden is on the women, and men will command not to go, you stay home. So getting permission from the men folk is still a problem. Another issue that I felt was also the women are unable to move to other places than their own family vicinity, home vicinity. Even if we provide jeep and travel facilities and all, they cannot stay far away from their own home. They need to come back home almost every day. Very few could stay away from home when they went for training, giving training to other people, other women in different districts of our state. Also, they went out of state for some other states to give training. But otherwise, it is not for as a general rule. Women need to come back home every day. That is another challenge. The government actually has not taken it as a serious concern to upscale women and to see that women are getting the same pay as men, to establish a law like that, nothing. So when I say that I stand for equal wages, from the very beginning I insisted on that, equal wages for equal job. And some people will ask, even those who are giving us a building or something like that, how can you say that? Okay, if you are not believing in my women's strength or capacity, we measure. So if a man lays 1 brick, there is a rate. And if a woman lays 1 brick, the same rate. So nobody loses. So it gives a kind of confidence or conviction for the owner of the house who is giving the contract to women, or who is when we employ women as masons and demand the same wages as 1,000 rupee for a woman mason also. So this is the way I have overcome this criticism that women may not do the equal amount of work as men do. And sometimes I do not ask women to join work at 8 o'clock, because I see that the family, the children are making a big demand on her. So I ask her to come only at 9. This is a special privilege I endorse to women, because they should not be overtired when they come to the work. After doing all the household chores, when a woman comes to the site, she will be half spent. And when she has to hurry so much that she has to reach at 8 o'clock in the site, her children will suffer. Her children may not be able to go to school in time, and so on. So the family is to be cared for. The children has to be cared for. That is the principle I support, because the children are the future generation, the future wealth of the country. So this kind of special privileges I offer to my women. Maybe they will earn a little less than 1,000 rupee, no matter. They are earning a high amount now. So another main problem even now I face is some collectors even ask me, can women build houses? Will it be strong? So I invite them, come and see our training center where Archana Women's Center is functioning. The 3-storied building, which was fully constructed by women. All the brick was made by women. All the brick laying was done by women. All the plastering was done by women. All the concreting work was done by women. All the windows and doors and everything in Archana was constructed by women. So I call such people to come and see what is the real monument of women's artisanship. So like that, it is going well. As I said, the Women Masons Society registered as Divapurna Women Masons Society, and now the Women Labor Contract Cooperative Society, and also we have a Meso Carpe Welfare Society also for women masons and carpenters. So in this way, I try to make the program sustainable. I think I have spoken of most of the things. Any questions?
Sorry, thank you so much, Ms. Mathew. So there was some error in my computer. It's stuck a bit right now. No, but this has been amazing. And I think you've covered, what we've been discussing, the ecosystem, what everything needs to be done. So you've understood the problems or the challenges of the women construction worker. You've also seen where are the schemes in which they can be employed, and facilitated the process of getting a contract for them, ensuring that they, they're on the job. But like you mentioned, few women are now coming in that role as of now. So I think that's a challenge that we all need to address together. Kirtee ji, do you want to come in and have a question for Ms.
Yes. The first thing is this, ma'am. I would want to call you Amma ji.
Thank you.
For a long time, I had Amma, whose name was Mrinalini Sarabhai.
Ah, yes.
And I call her Amma because of immense respect I had for her work, for her ability, for her humanity. And I share the same thing for you. Immensely inspiring story that you have put together. Ammaji, terrific. It's very, very inspiring.
Thank you,
As a matter of fact, as Nidhi said, all that we think this country should do, you have done it. You run an incredible pilot. And if we find a way to replicate it, if we find a way to kind of scale it up, if we find a way so that it succeeds, we have really done what we set out to do. So tremendous respect for you. It's a great thing. I want to ask 3 questions. Number 1, has any book or any film or any video been made on you or your work?
Many.
Many.
Yeah.
Oh, there are
book only 2.
2 books, huh?
Yes. One
Okay.
is one was written by Leela Menon, one of the famous columnist. She was
Okay.
written breaking. No, what was it?
Oh, but what you're saying is that it has been done, huh? Because I thought it was absolutely essential that this story went out effectively. It's an amazing story. It's a story which should everywhere. That's number 1.
The book was only concerning about the first step of women as masons when I started in Thrissur. The second part, all the other parts are not covered.
So what I'm thinking is this, while I listen to you, I think I'll talk to Nidhi and our colleagues and Sneha and others, whether we could take upon something like this, because this is the story that should go out everywhere and should be done in a manner which essentially kind of is not the storytelling, is looking at the whole issue and how do you deal with it. So that is 1. Second thing is this, ma'am, what you've done is what precisely we have sought out to do. And I want to ask a question. And it's a funny question to ask to someone who's done so much. How can you help what we have sought out to do? It's not our work. You know very well it's society's work, it's the women's work, and you need not answer this question, but what I want to do is this, that we would want to kind of come back and really request your help and participation and engagement on a longer term basis, because you have lots of ideas, you have great experience, and you have a wonderful analysis as well. So this is the second thing. But third thing, ma'am, is this. I'm going to become more ambitious about you. And that is this, that we want you to answer that question that I talked about earlier. What should national government do to bring in women in a sustainable kind of fashion in skill job? What should state government do? What should local government do? What should construction sector do? There's a whole list of 10 or 12. And I want you to answer 5 questions for each. 5 things. These are the 5 things that the national government should do. These are the 5 things that the state government should do. These are the 5 things that city government should do. These are the 5 things that the sector should do. We want those answers to come from you. We would 5, and I'm not talking about 1, 5, because you are so thoroughly capable of answering them. You have internalized the issue so beautifully. You have articulated it well in your work. And we know very well if there's one person who could answer this question, it is you. So can we ask that question and can we request for answers?
Kirtee, I think you have all the answers now in your own mind.
No, we would do this, madam. We would do this so that we would find a way that whatever you say goes out and becomes public, and because you have the right ideas, and you've done it on a scale, you've done it beautifully, and you have remarkably good analysis, why it works, why it doesn't work, what are the social issues, what are the entrepreneurial issues, what are the family issues, all that you thought so beautifully. And what we've got to do, ma'am, is not only analysis, but how do you go beyond? How do you overcome those challenges? What you've done on this scale, how could it become a national program, a state program? And we are fortunate that you are in Kerala. We're going to study more and understand more. So I'm essentially overpowering you with expectations and more work to do on this. And you deserve to work and you deserve to contribute. You've done so beautifully.
Whatever I can do in this regard, I am always ready, available. But I am not, I am not an academician. I'm only, I am a mere person who is touched by the life, the sufferings of people. So
absolutely. That is, compassion is the one thing that you need for development to happen. For someone to become a development worker, it's not only analysis of the problem, it's the compassion. Your heart must speak, not only your mind. And in your case, your heart speaks so beautifully. Yes. So thank you very much, ma'am. And we will be after you. We will be talking to you. We will be asking questions. We will be expecting your help in this work. It's your work. In a matter of fact, it's not our work. It's your work we are trying to do.
As I told you in the beginning, I was longing for some people to take it up like you have done now.
This is terrific. No, this is a great response. Thank you very much. Nidhi, we don't really have time because we run almost 20 minutes more. But if you still want to take some question answers, we can do this for 5-10 minutes and then wind up. Please. Nidhi ji?
Ji, I'm here. I'm not sure if there are any questions. I'll be happy to take them. There are a few people still with us, Kirtee ji. We've really extended quite a bit. But आपस में भी, I'm sure just Savita ji आप पास में है, कमलेश जी आप साथ में हैं. आपके भी कोई सवाल हो एक दूसरे पैनल से. I think वो अपॉर्चुनिटी हमें यूजुअली नहीं मिलती. कमलेश आप कुछ कह रही हैं?
नहीं मैम, कुछ नहीं कह रही.
अच्छा. Okay.
I would like to know if this Kamlesh and other lady,
Savita,
Milan, no? Are they under Mahila housing or under the Seva group? Is Milan society?
Mahila Milan is different than Seva. I'll ask Savita to respond. Savita जी आपसे पूछ रही हैं कि महिला मिलन जो ग्रुप है वो स्पार्क के साथ है ना, वो पूछ रही है कि वो सेवा के साथ है कि स्पार्क. So महिला मिलन के बारे में पूछ रही हैं. आप थोड़ा बताएंगे महिला मिलन के बारे में?
स्पार्क के साथ है.
Spark. Okay. Because I had trained at first for the Seva group. The first group of women came to me to get trained at first. Then only they were able to break the bus.
Yeah. Ammaji, I think, when I was chairing a committee to revive the building centers in the country. Yeah. And at that time, I got 3 studies organized on the subject, exactly the same subject. One was done by Seva, other one was done women's group in Bihar, and third, I think, in a group in Orissa. And we will also share that report with you. I think we will share that with you. But I think we're going to take it further. We have to really, I think, because kind of depth and kind of understanding that you bring in is enormously important. And we've got to look at this entire sector collectively and holistically. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Savita ji, आपने बहुत ही अच्छा बताया. महिला मिलन को हम बहुत जानते हैं. शीला जी बहुत ही अच्छी दोस्त हैं. आपके साहब बहुत ही बड़े अच्छे दोस्त थे हमारे, 40 साल से 50 साल से सब. अच्छा. बहुत साथ में काम किया है. और आपने बार बताया शरद महाजन जी का. नीता जी इसके साथ है, मशाल की प्रेसिडेंट है और वो भी बैठी है यहाँ. तो अच्छा. बहुत ही अच्छी बात आपने बताई, बहुत प्रेरणादायक बात बताई. वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग, बहुत ही अच्छा। हम पुनः आएंगे तो आपको मिलने आएंगे जरूर।
अच्छा, जरूर जरूर। कीर्ति जी, मुझे एक बात कहनी थी कि मैंने आपको वर्ल्ड अर्बन फोरम मीटिंग में देखा है 1-2 बार,
अच्छा,
और एचआर मीटिंग में भी देखा है।
अच्छा, ठीक है। हम घुमा करते हैं ऐसी मीटिंगों में, तो बहुत ही अच्छा हुआ, बहुत ही, हाँ, बहुत ही नहीं, जो कि हमारे बहुत ही पुराने दोस्त हैं, हमने बहुत साथ में काम किया, बहुत बातें की, बहुत झगड़े, बहुत दोस्ती बनाई, बहुत अच्छा हुआ, वेरी नाइस। अंशिला जी तो बहुत ही बड़ी दोस्त हैं। थैंक यू वेरी मच। एंड शरद का लॉस बहुत ही बड़ा है। वो बहुत ही अच्छे इंसान थे, बहुत ही अच्छा काम करते थे, बहुत ही डेप्थ थी उनके काम में, और बहुत ही लगन थी। तो इस दुनिया में नहीं रहे, लेकिन उन्होंने जो किया बहुत ही याद रहेगा। So thank you very much. I think, thank you very much. Nidhi ji, will you wind up this? And if you don't mind, can I thank everyone on behalf of INHAF?
Please, you do it.
I have one comment, please.
Yes.
You gave me a good training in Hindi today.
You won't believe me. I sent this invitation to Mallika Sarabai for this meeting today. She immediately wrote to me saying that I'm very interested in the subject. I talk about this every time, and therefore you send me the recording of this meeting that has taken place. And I told her, you come and join our third webinar. She's a woman activist and she'll be wonderful to have, and she's a very close personal friend. So we'll try and get her also. So Ammaji, bahut hi thanks. So let me kind of take this opportunity to take 1 more minute only and thank everyone for this wonderful meeting. Nidhi ji, obviously, I think, for taking this idea further. Thank you, Lara, who's not there, but absolutely stunning and professional presentation, almost flawless. Mathew Ma, very good. Savita ji, बहुत ही सुंदर बात बताई. कमला जी, कमलजीत, वो जो कुछ नाम है, आपने तो बहुत ही प्रेरणा दी. आपने बताया कि एम्पावरमेंट क्या होता है और 10 दिन की ट्रेनिंग लोगों को क्या कर सकती है. And Amma ji, thank you very much. We are going to be, I think, behind you, and we are going to keep you in front while we work further. So thank you very much. Thank you, Ankisha. You're coming from lots of hard work, in the hospital with your mother, and it's not easy to kind of switch gears and get into the act. Thank you very much. Ankisha is the heart of this program, and we're very grateful to all that she does. Thank you again. This is just the second of the webinar. We hopefully will do 2 or 3 more. Thank you, Sneha. Shouldn't forget this. This wonderful girl is the one who is energizing us enormously with her talent, with her ability, with her commitment. And I wish she postpones her going to America for a year and work more with us, so that we could continue this wonderful journey which has started. Thank you very much for everyone. Hopefully we'll meet pretty soon again with another episode of this program. Thank you very much.